Boy.
What order do you
Oh
want to do this in? Oh,
boy.
hi.
Oh boy. Lay ill kid at one, you're so holding it down. Bring that street geek and nerd soul. What is up, my people? It has been forever. We are
It's been
here.
so long since we seen y'all.
That's right.
I mean,
Lounging.
children have grown.
Yes.
Seasons have come and gone.
Now the baby is born, healthy and strong. It's been a long time. Y'all done had Thanksgiving and all that stuff. We're finally back.
Right.
I'm joined to my left by.
Hey, what's up? It's Marqueeda LaStar, your girl. What's up? What's happening? How y'all feeling? I ain't getting invites to Turkey. I'm kind of upset with that, y'all.
We ain't getting
y'all could have shouted us out a little bit.
No honey glazed ham, no nothing. Y'all ain't, come on, man.
Like, I could
came
over
no
got
rolls.
Broke bread with y'all.
No greens.
You know, it's all right though.
But it's cool. We here now. We gonna have some fun. Man, there's so much happened. I tried to tell y'all stop the news while the show was off,
right.
but y'all ain't want to stop the news. No, we got tons of stuff to talk about. There's little stuff. There's big stuff. You want to do like a little big,
or maybe we can do like the stuff that we need to go in. Yeah, like just to back it up.
So all right, something that little happened. I'll start off with something little that happened. Jill Scott did a performance. All right, this is a while back. Y'all might have forgot. She was apparently giving out tutorials.
But those memes though, they still pop up in my timeline. Hilarious. So like, we saw the video.
Yo, man. Jill Scott had a performance in where she acted out motions of providing pleasure on stage. And, people caught it, high definition, everything, right on the screen.
High definition.
And now they're teaching it in sex ed. So I don't. Now they're playing it.
Are they?
Well, all right, they're not.
They should though.
but it was I didn't think it was very. It's weird. It's surprising because Jill Scott strikes you as that woman that like if you heard that story, you'd be like, Jill didn't do that. Because she just strikes you as that. More regal woman. Now, if you listen to her music, she definitely gets, sexy in her music. Super sexy.
That's what doesn't strike me as odd that she might have did that. And I was like, I feel like as you age and you get older, the freak, that duality just becomes more and more apparent. And you can flip it and switch it. And nothing is lost. I think it's extremely healthy though that be on display because I think women are here for the sex, we're here for good times. I'm very sex positive, very pro. Get yours.
That's an interesting statement. And shout out to everybody in chat. I did see somebody's comment, but what's sex negative? Because you hear that, and there's always there's always a.
Well,
so what's the antithesis? What is the sex negative? If you're sex negative, where are you?
There's a lot of stuff that
sex negative
would qualify as sex negative. Sex in general in our society is not embraced.
Well, yeah. I get.
We are prudes compared to other countries.
But that's the funny thing is we're prudes compared to other countries, and then we're also like wilding out compared to other countries.
But like it's not all or nothing. I think that's
it's like some stuff we're prude and some stuff we're wilding out.
I think honestly our overuse of sex in weird places comes from the fact that we are prudes. You wouldn't if everything was kind of like out in the open and you like sex and like expressing yourself and bodies were that, you wouldn't be so drawn to it. It's like a nudist community. Like I remember reading an article on the nudist community and they said when they see an attractive woman walk by, you take a glance and you go on with your life.
They be lying.
Right. Well, they'll be like, think about it. If you got to see it all the time. Think about tribes that nudity, like you're naked from the time you drop. You are not like.
So it's just always chill.
I even heard that from like. I remember reading an article of somebody who was an immigrant from the continent, African continent. I forget which country, but he was tribal. They lived in the bush. And so he's like, I don't understand why men fall out over breasts and like nude bodies.
Because he's like, there's breasts everywhere, man. He's out there seeing breasts forever.
It was like it's always been there. So it's just I think it's a mindset
because you're covering them up.
You can't exactly.
So set them free,
right?
And then you set the society free.
Exactly. That's how I think that's what that whole free the nipple thing was about. But again, the whole negative part is because you've been that's been like kept away from you.
There's going to be a period of time
where people just lose their mind.
So say if we was to set them all free, so set them all free, and they was just all over the place. There would be like 3 years or so where dudes would literally they'd be like car crashing, wouldn't be doing no work at work. They'd just be like typing all kinds of wrong things, and be like, right. What about after 3 years, then slowly?
3 years? 3 years? Look, I don't know about 3 years.
I think it'd be 3 years because it's like it's in your head. But yeah, so Jill Scott, big shouts to her. She watches the show, but if you've been to a live show of hers, it's definitely about, the love making. I haven't
to one. I would like to, though.
It's very good. Take a date because it's gonna be some smooth jams there.
Make sure you have a date to end the night.
Yo, Jill Scott's performance, I've seen Jill Scott twice, I think. Yeah, I've seen her twice. Her show is about the lovers. I'm just saying, take a date there and you will be okay. That's all I'm saying. Just don't do anything stupid.
Yes, don't ruin it.
Don't get into an argument on the car ride home. Just all you have to do is be like, man, I really enjoyed that show. Don't say nothing else. Get home and candlelight it. That's right. That R&B loving.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There you go.
It'd probably be preferable to have all that set up before.
Oh yeah. Don't be like, hold up, girl.
Have the candle set up with the little thing next to it so you can light it when you get there. Don't leave them on while you're gone. You burn down your place. Yeah. You can't abide by that. However, come in and be like, man, this is way too vanilla smelling. Right. And vanilla gets strong after a while.
Yeah, you don't want to, just
you don't want to ruin the mood like that.
Nah. But all right, so besides that, we got some big stuff, some serious stuff that went down. Where do you want to go at first? Do you want me to head down south?
Yeah.
Okay, well, in the great state of Florida.
Right? Oh, man. And this is a big one because it slowly, like, the more we talked about it, the more it expanded into, like, all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, this is a
weird because, okay, there's a police chief, ex-police chief. He was down in Florida, just being a police chief, doing his thing, keeping his, holding it down, staying real. And he was going to work on burglaries. He said, hey, look, I'm going to hold down the burglaries, fix them myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to have 100% clearance rate. The only thing is, the way he did it was by framing people for crimes they had nothing to do with. And multiple people, how many people went to jail? I can't remember. Multiple people, like tons of people went to jail. All right? Because they were just picking up people just to, slap with the charges and put them in jail.
Right.
Finally got caught. All the officers got caught. And he, of course, is not the police chief no more, but he only gets 3 years.
And that was our first thing. It's like how bad our system is. Like our so-called system of justice, criminal justice, is a farce because one of the guys that he framed got 5 years. So you mean to tell me you're destroying lives? Because we all know, like, we've heard the horror stories. If you haven't been to jail or prison, you've had a relative. You've seen them struggle. You see how hard it is to get your life back. And it doesn't even change, unfortunately, in human mindset that you were proven innocent. And you were not only proven innocent, but you were framed for it. So you should never have been in that situation in the first place. Employment, places to live, relationships have been shattered and destroyed. People do not understand. Like
a lot happens.
Happens when you get arrested. And we don't know. I don't know how long that guy served of his sentence. But
even 1 day was too long.
Yeah. Even 1 day is too long. But the stigma and everything that goes with going to jail or prison remains even when you're proven innocent. Even when people are like, "Hey, this person was framed." Unfortunately, that sticks especially for Black people. Yeah. So it's just it's evil on like a level that I feel like, and this is the other problem we ran into is that not only this police chief he's not even Caucasian, he's of color. Yeah. And this is the whole like separation that we're having when we're having this conversation about Black people and then people of color who aren't Black.
Yeah.
And it gets into like this whole colorism. And colorism is really just a pillar of white supremacy. It's pretty much like got people trying to obtain whiteness and the privileges that come with it.
Yeah.
The lighter you are, the better it is. Why? Because you're closer to whiteness.
Yeah, either that or they're just happy no one's messing with me.
Right, exactly. And you're willing to sell out anybody who isn't like you, even hell, people in your family, because colorism knows no bounds.
So you might be like the lightest one, or your side might be the lighter side. Like say your dad's side might be darker or something like that.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. And it gives you some weird way of justifying you spitting on a whole group of people because of the color of their skin. And instead of fighting the system that's dogging you all out, you say, hey,
at least I can get a better position. I ain't got to worry about
even if they're not treating me completely white. Oh, there's definitely Black. Hello. I haven't saw you before.
Down Rock Records. Okay. Down Rock Records is the one who likes Raekwon's immobility. Yeah. And the RZA's
hi,
horrible album, Bobby Digital.
Alan said hi.
Oh, Alan, what up? Alan in the house. What up, y'all?
So I mean, definitely, and this definitely applies to Black people. I mean, colorism is everywhere. We definitely have that house Negro versus field Negro mentality all the way back to now. So definitely, but I think I have definitely gotten into conversations with like Latino friends and coworkers, and sometimes we have issues around this because we want to get back in the forth about while our struggle is similar, they definitely have their differences, and sometimes we focus too much on the differences. And sometimes we try and make it all the same because when we're fighting stuff online, everybody wants to be like, it's trending. So everybody's like, Black stuff is everybody's stuff. And us too. Everybody jumps in on it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Everybody.
It's both.
Paul Mooney said it best.
It's never one or the other.
Yeah, but everybody, whenever Black people are pushing something, everybody wants to get under the Black umbrella real quick. And be like,
I have people call me out online like, why aren't y'all including like Asian people and Latino people? And I'm like, well, where were you at the last Black Lives Matter protest?
Thank you. This is
when the shit hits the fan, where you at, fam?
When Black people are on their own.
And also, I can't speak for other people. I want that known right now because I will get it wrong. I don't know your struggle like you know your struggle. Just like I don't want you to pretend like you know my struggle. We can be allies, we can be educated, but we'll never know the true, 100%. And that's the wrong space to be in as an ally. That because I hung out on the street with them when I was XYZ age, or my sister, cousin, brother-in-law, whatever, my child
is best friends with,
or I have a Black child. Don't mean nothing. I know plenty. We've had plenty of examples recently in the news. I think just recently in the year of women who have biracial children and are racist as fuck. You're like, what is wrong with you guys? Why you go out and create these kids and all you're doing is giving them all kinds of like triggers and trauma and issues that they're gonna have to figure out and deal with in the future. So I'm
because of you.
Because of you tripping, because you're fascinated by us, but you're not really about us. And so that's the thing. It's like, don't be fascinated. Be about the cause. Be about this isn't right, and equality isn't sameness. I say this all the time. We really need to learn how to celebrate, recognize, and appreciate our differences, so then we can then get to that common ground. Because I promise you, if you perceive somebody to be too different from you, you're never going to get to that point where you can find common ground because you can't get over the differences. So if you change your attitude about differences, now I'm not saying if the dude there are differences that you should take account. There's like red flags, like, oh, this person isn't stable, I need to keep that, or that person is aggressive and violent to me. I'm not saying get shit on, but if the person has benign differences, then you need to learn how to get along and get over that, so you can get to your commonality that everybody loves talking about. We all have common ground. After you get through the differences.
After we get through.
So that's kind of like the issue around here we're having, where people need to recognize that, yes, you are of color, but there's anti-Blackness in your culture. Because that's what colorism is founded on.
Every culture, even black culture,
has anti-blackness.
Every culture has anti-blackness.
It's internalized racism, people.
Yeah, because of the way
into you.
Yeah,
oppression. That's how oppression works. If we were not,
no, you good.
Yeah. If we were not like feeding into it ourselves, if they hadn't got us to believe in it, we probably wouldn't still be in where we're at. We probably revolted a long time ago. We'd have flipped the script a long time ago. So best believe it's there. And if you're not working on it and recognizing it, then you're probably being problematic as fuck right now.
and don't know it.
Exactly. And so you're out convicting people and framing them for laws totally with the justification that, they're black, they would have done something eventually. That kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
And here we are. And then what does the system do? It's like, hey, well, you did to black people, so I'll tap you on the wrist. And who knows, that dude might be back on somebody's force a couple of years later, because the guy who shot Tamir Rice, he got kicked off of a force and had been newly hired to that force. He had shown problems beforehand. Wow. I don't know if it was.
So he had already been doing stuff.
He already had issues and got hired somewhere else. So that's the problem with this code that police have. Like, I understand we need law enforcement. I'm a moderate person. Like, I want what's practical and what works. We need law enforcement because there's going to be people. There's going to be people that try to kidnap you or steal or do. However, is there problems in that system? Yes.
And are the ways to fix it? Are the ways to fix it simple? Yes. Here's a way to fix it in this situation. That police chief and the officers, the one that were involved in this whole scheme, should get the combined years of the years they dealt. So if they dealt out 5 people that had 1 year apiece, then that chief police officer should get 5 years because he took 5 years from people. So 5. That's just. I mean, that is like fair.
They should at least
add some more on because they took an oath.
You committed. You committed. We're gonna give you time for the law you broke.
Yeah.
and then the whole idea of the crime fitting the punishment is if why you oftentimes get life in jail for murdering somebody is because you took a life. It's irreplaceable and stuff. And so And I mean, even if you get like 30, 40, 50 years, that's life, bruh. You come out.
That's a lifetime.
That's a lifetime. That's a whole lot of years to spend incarcerated.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you don't have to take someone's physical life to take their life. And that's what needs to be understood with prison time. Yeah. You don't have to take a life.
They've taken this person.
Your life.
Yeah. That person's perception of the world will never be the same.
Right.
And it's because of these people that conspired just to get brownie points on a report.
Right.
That's it.
Just to say that you got 100% clearance. Yeah. Why do you have to have 100%? It'd be great if you could do that in the right way. Yeah. But to do it this way,
but if you can't,
it's pointless.
You just can't.
Like, we understand you're human. There's only so much you can do. Nobody's thinking you're Superman if you're a police officer.
Yeah, like,
nobody's saying, because that's I think the biggest issue when you're talking about police brutality and the corruption that exists in our system, like it's like like you need to be perfect to do this job, and nobody's saying that because nobody's perfect. Yeah. However, should you aspire to it? Yes, because the decisions you make,
are far-reaching. It's not like if I'm a trash man, and I make a mistake, I don't pick up a thing of trash. Yeah, the hit to society isn't that big
in the realm of like doctors, lawyers, and such.
Yeah, because you're controlling people's lives.
In a totally different way. You're not operating on those. Exactly. It's so important that you get your job right.
Yeah.
It's so serious, and thus it should be respected and put on a pedestal. But if we can't rely on you to do that, and then the people don't call you when they do need you. Like, you're going to need us. Well, guess what? In my neighborhood, people aren't so swift to call you because we don't know if you're going to help us or not.
Yeah, because you're going to make something worse.
You come into
my neighborhood and you're going to make it worse.
Make it worse. So that's the other charge, the other pushback. Well, you're gonna need. I was like, of course I'm gonna need law.
Of course I'm gonna need law enforcement.
But do I call them a lot? No, I hesitate often. Yeah. I can tell you right now, it's probably
because
years in between when I call police. And has there been more times? Hell, there was some shots fired not too long ago, and I'm like,
and it's like, on one hand, like say if you see a young brother and he's messing up, and it's too much for you to say something to him. You still don't want to call the police because you're like, yo, this brother is at the age where he could change. I'll put him in your hands,
and he might not.
He'll be done. He might not live through the night, or he's gonna be done. Y'all gonna give him all the time you possibly can because he's black, and now his life is taken. Instead of sitting him down for maybe a couple of months and being like, you need to chill.
That white and black individuals committing the exact same crime get totally different sentences. Totally, and like super lengthy and super short for white individuals.
Even if they're not the same, just sentences in general.
This was also a trending thing when this study first came out. I think this was a year or two ago. It's a recent study too that came out, and so hashtag what was it? Criming while white or white while
oh yeah, criming while white or something like that. Yeah.
Where people were talking about I was with a black person and we got different sentences.
Wow.
Same crowd, they went joyriding or something like that. And everybody else got like community service and they hit that dude way harder than everybody in the group. Wow. He was like the only black dude in the group. And I was like, what? That's the problem with our system.
And that's why, and when I was younger, I never understood, but my mom told me once, I can't remember the exact words, but she said something to the extent of, be careful of like everything you do with your white friends. Be careful, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, they'll do some stuff. Let's steal this car. Let's go joyride. We're going to steal my uncle's car, my mom's car, my friend's car, whatever. We're going to steal something.
Stealing. They're just thinking it's innocent to take. Yeah. Especially if they're taking somebody who's related to the car.
We're just going to take we'll joyride, have a good time. And they do have a good time. They get in a little trouble, you know, gotta go to court. We gotta clean up trash in the parks around the city. But somehow you got 2 years. And you gotta be careful because it's been expressed to me when I was younger, once they get their hands on you, I can't help you. And it's true. My mother told me that a long time ago.
You don't have the resources. And even if you're well-to-do black person, again, we've also had this conversation.
There's only a couple of black people that I think might be, and this is very slim. Like Denzel's son, maybe Will Smith's son, but those are two families. That's just two families out of all the black families in America.
Oprah got followed in the store. Yeah. Remember when she got followed in that store? Like, how the hell do you not recognize Oprah? You gonna follow Oprah, who's like one of the few billionaire women in the world around in the store? Like she's gonna steal something.
Funny when they try to act like they wanted to apologize. It's
that's
like,
right. Well, what's up, Chris? Chris Smith.
Oh, Chris Smith in the house. What up?
Chief Chris is here. Detroit in the building.
Yo, what up? Shouts to the D.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, I was like, we could talk about that one for a long time because it goes in so many directions.
And we got another dirty cop we gonna get to, but we ain't gonna we gonna go light for a second.
So let's just switch up and go light with Southwest.
You go ahead.
It ain't right. It ain't right.
Oh.
But when I say there's a little blame on both parties, and that's coming from a black woman, because I know our mothers get very creative with our names. However, I feel the creativity is not here.
I feel like we've been vindicated. I don't want to hear nothing about a black name no more.
Well, you know, I've said that before.
More.
I said as somebody
I've dealt with blanket. I've dealt with all kinds of.
Well, there's Apple.
I've dealt with all, but this one takes a cake. I don't hear nothing about black names no more.
As somebody who is named Marqueeda, my mother put a lot of thought into my name. I was told it came out of a book and it means beauty, and so she put my name Marqueeda LaStar is on my birth certificate, people, and I have always liked my name. Even when people try to give me shit about my name, I usually clap back and fairly hard because one, you're not original. Two, I already know it's coming. Like, some people, even if it comes out the blue, people have been giving me shit about my name ever since I got into school. And oddly enough, ever since once I started going to gifted schools are often not in Black neighborhoods. And that's when the clowning starts. Yeah. And stuff like that. And so it's like you get used to it. And if you clap back and shake the brace off of somebody, just like bitch slap them real quick with that comeback, they're like, oh, never mind. It wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. But anyway, as somebody named Marqueeda LaStar, my name is not a goof off. It's not my mom doing weird shit. It's my mom taking a lot of thought and naming her first daughter, her first child, actually. And so the assumption, because my name is different from yours, my mom was like fucking around or something, or naming me something silly that I'm sure there's plenty of jobs. I'm positive there's plenty of jobs I probably got passed up on because my name is such as it is. And I've had to just come with peace with that. I personally, maybe it saved me working in environments where should I get through the door, because I've definitely had other friends that had that situation because their name sounds very white sounding. And their credentials are not what you stereotypically connect with Black people. They walk into an office or an interview, and you can almost see it on that person's face. Wow. They weren't expecting you.
They didn't think you were. They weren't that happens to me.
Yeah, exactly. I have. Yeah, I was like, I have a bestie with like a PhD, big Black man too. I was like, that's his thing. He's like 6'3". I'm like,
they'd be like, oh my god. And his name is what, like Tom Johnson or something like very just really plain standard name. Right. It's like, oh, good morning, good right this way, sir. You get that little split second where it's like,
right. And so I was like, so this is not. I don't feel like this is in the same niche. So you have a mother who is upset, as she should be, because it is not cool to pick on kids. Especially, I think the child was like 7.
You picked on your kid first.
True, but we're not getting into that.
We ain't going there.
We're going to address the behavior by other adults. Yes. 2 wrongs don't make a right. that is our stance on this.
Is it wrong? Is it wrong to do it or wrong to let that opportunity pass?
My thing is, this is the issue, I think, and I think
it's also Southwest, man.
Exactly.
They're the screw ups of the sky.
Right.
Well, you know what? There's one. JetBlue is below. It's like, okay, the worst is like the top of the worst is like. All right, now
what has happened on
Spirit is the absolute worst.
Oh, absolute worst.
Spirit is at the top.
I will not fly. I will spend that extra money not to fly Spirit.
Spirit is the absolute top worst. All right. Then, since you like JetBlue, I'll ease up on. Then it's Southwest. Then JetBlue. But it's all 3 of those. Just try not to get.
What happened on JetBlue?
JetBlue just be like It just feels like a bus. It feels like we in a bus in the sky. It has a very Southwestern feel.
When I lived in Long Beach, I took JetBlue a lot because they're at the airport in Long Beach. And if you've ever flown, I don't know how many people here are from LA, but flying out of anything but LAX is usually like a cakewalk. LAX is like get to your shit 2-3 hours. If you know it's going to be busy time,
LAX
4 or 5 hours before you do your flight, if you're doing a popular flight at a popular time. And so my strategy for LAX flying, because it's the closest airport to me now, is I will fly out hella early or hella late. I take red eyes. Yeah. Or in the middle of the night flights, like late, 11 o'clock at night.
Last flight out.
So I can walk my ass in there like 45 minutes
LAX is real, son.
Because you have to have strategy with LAX if you try to get through.
I fly either the first flight or the last flight.
Exactly.
That flight be going at like 11:38.
The beautiful thing about Long Beach is you can show up 20-30 minutes before your flight and have plenty of time to spare. You go to the bathroom, go get your snacks.
Walk right up on the target.
Right. Then walk right up, and it's set up, it's really nice because you can see the planes when you're setting up and stuff like that. And you just walk through and you go through your inspection, it flows really quick and stuff like that.
No problem.
And you feel like a boss. So I was like, I love.
See, I'm gonna have to try to fly out Long Beach.
Long Beach, so it's sometimes it's worth the drive down.
It sounds like the Richmond Airport to me. Like the Richmond Airport is like, man,
it's real nice.
Like,
you feel like all of the fanciness when you walk through there, and everybody's real friendly because Long Beach is friendly, and you're like. Yeah, so when you want that smaller town feel, like you're not like, so many miles from LA, do Long Beach. I miss Long Beach. My commute was just getting really bad, so that's why I moved back to LA. But anyhow, so the little girl's name is pronounced Absidy. Yes. However, it is spelled ABCDE.
Now. Let me say, if I told you, hi, my name is Absidy, you would probably think, oh, his name is spelled like ABSODIE or something like that. So you would expect to see an S there or something like that, not just ABCDE. Especially at elementary school, she is getting clowned.
The jokes is going to be real. The jokes is going to be real. Now, I don't know. I need to ask my mom if she thought about that because she said what happened to her, and when we've talked about my name, is she felt like nobody was named what I was named because Marqueeda and Marquisha and stuff are very common names here in LA for Black girls, and so she felt like there were no Marqueedas or anything similar to it. And then she's like, time I named my child Marqueeda, everybody named grandma got some kind of Mar something. And stuff like that. So there's a desire, for your child to be unique, be different. Fuck those oppressor names. Yep. Definitely there. That's like a layover from the 70s. My mom's heyday was the 70s and stuff like that. And so, that's the things go into it. What you wish, why, people name their children Precious. I think that's even why they're named like luxury stuff. Like you have your Chanels, you have your Lexus,
Porsches
and stuff like that. It's to associate them with wealth. You're kind of just trying to wish upon your child everything you want for your child when you're holding them for the first time. I think that's where those names come from. I felt like if people understood the context of how those names came about, they'd probably ease up. Because I can't get what you get out of Apple. So I was like, maybe I'm missing something. Well, the child's name wasn't really Blanket. It was a nickname.
I know.
Now, if you want to get into nicknames, we're just as bad.
I'm just saying.
Come on. Pookie is such a common Black nickname. Puda. I have a Puda in my family.
Scooter.
Scooter. So I was
Junebug.
We can't talk about nicknames.
All right, we'll let
the nickname slide. But we're talking about your legal government name.
I will say this. They Instagram? Do they tweeted her
right?
Her photo?
That's how the mother found out. So how the mother found out is that and on top of that, they were giggling and pointing at the little girl. I'm like, that's
you ain't got to do that.
That's messed up. You just didn't. You gotta be smooth. You really do.
You gotta be smooth about.
And see, I don't care. No, I also feel like this is where race plays into it. Black people need their jobs. And we get fired for the most bogus shit because we live in this world where there's double standards and things don't apply to us, and so or certain things that don't apply to other people apply to us, and stuff like that. So there's no way a Black woman would got away with that, and she would have known that. And there's even if she had jokes for days. I've been like, ooh, child, you wouldn't believe who I ran into. That would have been a home conversation or a break room conversation. There's no way you're sitting there pointing at a child and thinking that's okay. Like, nobody's going to get on your side on that one. Like, I was like, throw the whole employee away.
Like, I ain't going front. I probably would have stopped like, dang.
Right.
But I would just let it ride.
You have this reaction like, ABCDE? Really, though? Like, I'm not even tripping over, like, how it's pronounced. I'm just like, what was the spelling about?
You didn't try.
You didn't even try.
And you got that joint in all caps. Well, no, that's how they print it.
That's how they print it out. So that's my thing. I was like, and we have funky spellings with our names.
I still want to know
marks and everything.
When she go to put that joint in cursive, it's just gonna be bad times for this girl all her life. But
it doesn't have to be. She's gonna learn how to embrace her name and love it,
but
and have jokes for days to like clap back for people. That's all she gotta get. So I mean, that to me, my biggest issue is how unoriginal that is. Like it's worse than naming your kid John. And I'm no diss to the Johns.
Diss to the Johns.
But you know that's a common ass name.
Yeah.
You know.
Like any of the biblical names are like super super. Matthew, Mark, John, Luke, Michael, Abraham not so much.
Not so much.
But I guess if you go into the like Muslim community, you do have Ibrahim. So you got that, but I mean it's not the same. Yeah. But you still have like
Paul, like you got a little bit more spice.
Yeah, Paul, Peter, stuff like that. Those are real. Any of those
names.
Yeah.
But this is like okay, you
ABCD.
I feel like you went for uniqueness. And
it's
failed.
like it's like
so
it's
hard.
Like you shot for it, but you like bricked it. It's like you shot.
Like
you
it
bricked
wasn't
it,
even.
And it hit your like mom in the head with the ball.
It's not even a brick. Actually, it hit like the side back.
Oh. It just bounced off into the crowd.
Exactly. You missed it all together. Or it went past.
Yo, but I like how she gets mad. She gets mad at she gets mad at Southwest. And Southwest released a statement, but Southwest ain't say what they was gonna do. Southwest is like, yo, we sorry, we're down like that. This is how we usually do. It's not our thing to get down like this.
We're really sorry about it. But I do think the employees trash for pointing and laughing at
you ain't had to point at the child.
You didn't have that child did not need to know that you were doing jokes.
Because straight bet money, if it was you and I, we wouldn't even point it laugh. We would have just went to that chair like mad times. Like, hi, how you doing? Oh, nice to meet you too. Would you go back, girl? Do you see it? She don't even look like an absentee. Man, can you believe it?
Right.
I guess that's what absentees look
like. You never ran into that. I was like, absentee.
But we wouldn't have been like, oh,
you're right. That's like high school.
Your mama gave you the alphabet.
That's elementary shit right there. Like you, and the worst thing you can get is suspended or some shit. You could have lost your job or that. Now I would not be mad if she
I want to know her middle name though. Is it like
FGHI?
No, it doesn't. Southwest, come on, man. Y'all probably should have fired those people. Well, it's weird. I feel like you shouldn't have fired them because it's the mom's fault. But then at the same time,
it's not the mom's fault.
You knew what this child was going to go through.
I know.
You had to know. You had to know.
But this is the flip side of like respecting people's like ability to name their kids, because in certain countries you can't do that. I would never be able to name what I've been named, because I remember having a roommate. I lived in an international dorm at my college, and I had a roommate, and he was from Cyprus or something like that, and he lived in Bulgaria. What's that name of that card?
Bulgaria.
So his people were from Cyprus. He lived in Bulgaria, and he said in both of those countries they have like a list of names that like you can name your child. Like if it's not a cultural name that's already been established, you can't just go left and say, hey, I thought that was a cute name, or I traveled to another country. It's a legit name in another country, and name your kid that. He says you can't do that because conversation came up like with my name and like a few other people's names, and like they're all cultural names. That's the thing. It's an international dorm. Like everybody's gonna have different names. That's the whole point of you living there, is that everybody's from different countries. And so he was like having like a moment with like everybody's different names and stuff like that. And so I said that's the flip side. Either you let people be free with it, or you won't end up in a situation where everybody's got the same name because they gotta take their names from a roll of names.
Hey, a roll of names is bad, but at least it's not the alphabet. We ain't gonna have like
I said, I feel like she was shooting for original and missed the mark.
She missed all of that mark.
Absolutely isn't even all that bad of a name in my personal opinion. It's just the spelling. Like if you spelled it more like how it's pronounced, because here the how the pronounced go is ABSIDEE. I would prefer that spelling.
Yeah.
Over the way it's spelled. And I don't think this would have been a non-issue.
It would have been.
We would not be having jokes. I think literally it comes down to the actual spelling of the name.
It's the
and
spelling.
why you decided to go for the alphabet. So anyway, I mean, I'm sorry y'all went through all that, and homegirl, while the joke was good, like that's definitely to me a laugh. That's something you do in private. Like I'm not gonna sit here and act like I know, and I don't want people to get the wrong idea about me. But when something's funny, it's funny. But you don't have to be mean about it. That's why we're adults now. We're supposed to have empathy and understand that even though that is funny, it's not okay to point and be like because we're supposed to be all older and more mature than that. But you go to the side with your homies and have that joke. Or
you can like walk up to the you walk up to her when you're serving them, and like you give the mom her drink and her peanuts, and you give the child a drink, but you give her 2 bags of peanuts, and then you be like, "Why are you giving 2 bags? She's gonna need this. She's gonna need this."
We don't know the Chris Smith said he doesn't. He probably missed it. No, we didn't go over the origin of the name. The origin of the name isn't in the story. Pretty much it comes down to the name is fine, and
the name is fine. The spelling is dumb.
The spelling is funny. It's not dumb. It's funny.
It could be both dumb and funny.
And our thing is we're kind of middle of the road with this, where it's like, okay, it's funny.
And what do you expect from Southwest?
I'm not even gonna shit on Southwest with this. This is totally like
you know what? You're right. This is not Southwest
choice. This has nothing to do with policy. This has nothing to do. Anybody would have made this joke.
Yeah.
However, the problem is you pointing to a child, like you didn't have to let them know. Like I don't understand the need to communicate.
I feel like Canada Air wouldn't have done this. Canada Air would just be like,
KR would have had a joke in private. Yeah. They wouldn't have pointed at somebody's child.
The second she spelled her daughter's name, she opened the door as wide as possible.
People be opening doors all the time.
She opened that door and shit. Put neon pointer lights.
This is supposed to be a mini. But anyway.
I don't want to. White people.
Don't be pointing at people's kids and not expecting some smoke.
I don't want to hear nothing about black names.
Yeah, well, that too. Look, you go point at a black woman's kid.
Yo, point at my son. See what happened.
That's a fight.
Point at my son.
Don't be mocking people's kids. I think that's what we need to get out of.
I'll be like, oh, you poor baby.
Ooh, no, you didn't, Chris. Talking about it probably means white child with privilege. Well,
origin.
Okay. What's our next big story?
All right, so big story. We're going back to the cops.
What's the cops?
Old girl in Texas.
Oh,
Amber Geiger.
This one doesn't have to be like a major biggie, but it's important because I feel like it's a follow-up.
It's a nice follow-up.
And I would again to get on my platform, my soapbox. Bitches need to vote. Why? Why you say? I need a shirt. Bitches need to vote. I said that. Said by Marqueeda LaStar. LaStar got next. Said bitches need to vote. Exactly. A proverb.
A proverb.
So this is a very tangible result of voting. This case was going to get very much swept under the rug. Yes. Police officer enters someone's apartment, shoots a black man dead. She's a white police officer, for no reason. And she comes up with a lot of cockamamie reasons why she enters somebody else's apartment and shoots them dead without any kind of conversation whatsoever. And
just
her telling of the story is different from what was observed and heard by neighbors.
Yep.
There's other things like, how did you mistake his door? He has things at his door like this really bright red. And
the whole floor is different.
And the whole floor is different. There's so many things questionable. And even though they did bring her in, it was being swept under the rug. I really would give a shout out to like black news outlets that were trying to keep this alive. Yep. And they would constantly throw stuff out. You know, there was things to drag his name through the mud. Oh, we found weed. Who gives a fuck about you finding weed?
What does that have to do with being shot sight unseen in your own house?
And then it turns out, not that he had to be a pillar of the community for this to be an unjust act. It just so happened that he was. It does make it worse. It's like you're trying to drag a very respectable, celebrated man in his community through the mud, and you can't do it because the guy is an awesome guy.
Yeah, it's like you start finding out he's on the deacon board. He gives back to Boys and Girls Club. He's a big brother.
Exactly.
He sings in the choir.
Give you the shirt,
all this
stuff. The more you try to expose him as this dirtbag, because this is the
because they found out he was bulletproof. It was like
right. Well, he's not bulletproof because he would be here if that was the case.
But you know what I mean.
But his
trying to throw dirt on him.
Trying to assassinate his character.
Yeah.
To make this justified, and that's where respectability politics is always problematic. Yeah. That's why we're always fighting against it. If you ever wonder why respectability politics are such a problem, is what was going on with this case. Even though they were not successful. And
actually, it's not even a case yet.
Yeah, exactly. Well, she's been. That's the difference. It wasn't going to be a case. It was so clear that this was being swept. We're going to investigate. They're going to investigate themselves. When has that worked? And so that was the last.
Let me investigate myself.
Yeah.
Guess what? I ain't doing it.
Exactly. So we hadn't heard anything. It turned into crickets because we all knew how this was about to play out. They're going to do their fake ass investigation
song and dance
and give us the song and dance, and then voila. We didn't find enough evidence of foul play.
Nobody did
move on. So the vote happens in between this. And what happened with that vote? The DA changed. New DA immediately files charges against this woman.
That's right.
And she has, as of yesterday, she's been indicted for murder.
That's your votes.
That's you voting, people. That is you voting. So when people are like, why does it matter? Tell them that story. Like literally overnight.
Because the ODA was not going
to do it.
This is essentially what was probably going to happen. They're going, like you said, they're going to do the song and dance, and it's going to get quiet for a long time.
They're waiting for the quiet. And then they're waiting for people to forget about it. Once it gets quiet, then it'll be
like she has resigned and she's moved to Oklahoma or something like that. And that'll be
it. Like the last police story we had where they're going to pop up somewhere else. Maybe not with that particular department, in a different state somewhere. They move and they're back in it, in the saddle, and going on with their lives while this family has to mourn and stuff like that. So that's pretty much what happened to that one. So she's been indicted and the trial is moving forward. But it wouldn't have happened if people didn't get out and vote.
Immediately filed charges.
Immediately. One of the first things the DA did was like, this is crazy that she hasn't been filed no charges again.
Because once they said, they were like, well, we're the state police or something, so we're going to, I think they were the state police, and they were going to let the Rangers investigate.
They're going to pass it on to somebody, and we're like, oh, this is about to get
swept. All right, so you're going to let my best friend investigate me?
Okay, okay.
This is going to be the best investigation ever.
Right. So we very much want to cover that. Yeah. I feel like this case has been already politicized.
Yeah.
Already because of the fact that nothing was going to happen.
Yeah. Made it, and now we feel like maybe, because she's been indicted for murder now.
Yes.
So this is a thing now. Right. Like, this is a real thing.
Well, it's a start, and we don't know how it's going to end. But the DA did what they could do.
Yeah.
And now it's in the hands of. And then she was indicted by a grand jury, which makes feel like we have a chance even with this going to trial because she was indicted by a grand jury. Yep. So that's fabulous, wonderful news. I mean, I know it doesn't bring back the family's son and this man, but. Maybe a shot at justice. Who knows? Going against. I've only heard.
We're gonna see.
We've been hearing about more cases with police officers wrongfully killing people, and they're starting to actually get some kind of time, but it's usually peanuts in comparison to the damage they did. The punishment is not filling their crimes, and that is a huge problem.
Or if they're getting, because I've noticed another thing that they're starting to do now, they'll convict, but it won't be for murder. They'll convict them on like, it was involuntary manslaughter or something like that. Right. It's just like no, murder. That's what they keep like sliding by that charge. But
it's always.
Yeah, but we'll keep an eye on that one because Amber Geiger, just look, when you move into a neighborhood or whatever, make sure there ain't no Amber Geigers there. I'm just like, she watches the show, but she knows she wrong.
I mean, she looked. I mean, you never know. It's just it's a very unfortunate thing, but I think whatever pushed her to do that, because I feel like there's some connection between
them. There's something going on.
Total speculation. Yeah. Because there was a rumor that died fairly quickly, but we don't know if that was, the police department just not doing their due diligence because it was so clear that they were ready to sweep this under the rug. I felt like that was super apparent.
They were working fast to sweep that
under the rug.
And the only thing that hung them up was like, he doesn't do anything.
Right.
Like, because if he had like gang ties or he used to steal stuff. Or there was any illegal stuff he had, but there was nothing.
To the training. Now, the training, it's like the whole idea of you shoot first and then you don't just shoot to like say disable somebody where they can't attack you. You're always shooting to kill.
Yeah.
And I think that's a problem. Like, I feel like if you shot somebody in their leg, like in their thigh, they're not going to be able to get up and charge you unless they're juiced up on something.
Yeah.
But the idea of just shooting to kill always, like, if your whole thing is shooting.
Or whatever happened to a warning shot.
Yeah.
Or, like, whatever happened to that.
Yeah. There has to be a better way. So
or maybe like.
Because to me, one innocent person dying is, and I'm not saying don't defend yourself. Like, if somebody's charging you, I'm like, look.
But this was not that case.
That was not that. There was like, neighbors reported there being argument back and forth, and she said there was no conversation, which was problematic. Like, well, the fact that there's no conversation,
so there's no conversation, so you
problematic.
Open the door, shop.
Exactly, and then two, that's not what other people around that apartment is saying.
Because her story her story was she went to her apartment, or she at least started her apartment.
She was so tired.
Yeah.
She didn't recognize she was in an apartment.
But then everybody was like, but how'd you get in?
Right.
Then the neighbors were like, she was banging on the door. Right. So it's like, so you knew it wasn't your apartment. Right. Because you wouldn't bang on your own door.
Exactly.
I don't go to my house and knock on the door.
And so the theory came like, it's like she's like some type of scorned lover. Yeah. And I was like, and why do you think this is very much of an extension of something that did come up in the last time I think we had the show of like the historical thing about white women and their womanhood being put on a pedestal that allows it to be used as an excuse for killing black men.
Besides violence, and of course this is a different situation, but besides violence, in many cases, a white woman can be the most dangerous thing to a black man, because especially in the corporate world, or if a white woman, if you're a black man somewhere and a white woman ever says, oh, well, he frightened me, he made me uncomfortable, people move. People move when they say that. Mm-hmm. Like, if I was somewhere and a white woman said, you know what, NERDSoul made me uncomfortable, I didn't like when he did that, people will accommodate her. People are going to want to have a meeting with me and want to see if they can calm the situation down. And I'll be sitting there like, what y'all talking about? What's going on?
Exactly.
Look, when a white woman says something, especially about her discomfort, and it was an article about the weaponization of white women's tears or something. I think you sent me like a while back. Mm-hmm. Same thing.
Same principle.
But this
and so that feeds into this mentality that you can do it. I feel like that's connected to the same idea with the uptick of violence against like minorities and marginalized communities. It's like the toxic nature of our administration and political scheme has allowed people to think like I can get away with these things.
Yeah, I can do what I want.
And so I mean, I'm seeing somebody. I'm like, where was it? Somebody sent me. No, it wasn't you. Somebody sent me a video of a man. Like, we have Jewish communities here in LA. I mean, very Jewish communities. Like, clearly, when you're driving down the street that you're in a Jewish community because of what people are wearing and stuff like that. And there are lots of synagogues in the area and stuff, and just lots of stuff that lets you know you're in a Jewish community. And they're walking down the street. And so there was a video of a guy trying to run over this Jewish man walking down the street over in one of the communities near Wilshire here in LA. Like here in LA, and that comes after swastikas were spray painted on Crenshaw over the mural of the Black Panthers on Crenshaw in a very black neighborhood. So I was just like, when they even
the boldness
to do it.
To come like, in that area.
And they've already fixed the swastikas. And I don't know what happened to the man who was trying to run down random Jewish people. But yeah. And I think that's an extension of this whole like mentality of I can get away with this because of what's going on in the ethos. And this is why it's a problem, why it's systematic. It is definitely embedded in a lot of people subconsciously. And unless we're like really attacking the issue and saying, hey guys, we have an issue. That's why my favorite meme right now, did you see the meme I shared? It was like America, we're not like this, and then history was like you know, so it's the same thing. But we're gonna keep it on with criminal justice, and we're gonna get on a lighter note, because I feel like this is a lighter note, because this is lighter. This guy begged for it. Now, here's a guy who begged for law enforcement to come into his life. Yeah. And that's Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Yes.
That dude.
Oh, and the story you've all been waiting for.
I mean.
All right. Okay, let's see. Where do we start?
Yeah, because so there's a lot of stuff going on.
If you don't know, for those of you that are uninformed, Tekashi 6ix9ine is a musician, an artist, a rapper.
I wouldn't say musician or artist. Let's
he's a rapper.
The thing he barely does well.
He's a rapper, and he's most known for being a very, I guess, polarizing character due to antagonistic. That's his shtick. That's his thing. You know, he literally had like a quote "Test My Gangster" tour where he would like come to New York City and like dare people to like mess with him because he's Tekashi 6ix9ine. He's the man or whatever. Can't nobody touch him. He has the best gangs and the best guns. What I don't know. So anyway, he goes around. He talks stuff in New York, talks stuff in Chicago, and L.A., Atlanta, all this stuff, and people are noticeably not pleased with him streaming or live streaming or whatever. He's
always talking like his whole thing of staying relevant and staying around, like even him being a young guy, I think because let's just be honest, like rapping skill set is limited. Flow is quite like limited. Non-existent. Quite limited. He's like one of those dudes who are like, I'm not trying to be lyrical, I'm just trying to have fun. And you're like, he's definitely in that group. I know Lil Pump said that, but he's in that group. I don't really think about what I'm saying. I'm just saying stuff that I think will get me attention and get me fans and get people to buy my shit, more or less. And, you know, so he's getting rich off of just like clout jacking and talking about a lifestyle that he is somewhat adjacent to. Like, it's clear he has lots of friends. And then he decides to do this thing I think is very timely. Not timely. It's kind of like, it kind of shows you what the situation was is when you're that. Because a lot of rappers, I think, made this mistake. Like, legit, our legends made this mistake. You know, we all remember the 90s where people were getting on. Yeah. They're making money. And they thought they still needed to hold on to certain really negative aspects of their lives that put them on. Well, I got on because of this gangster shit. I think it took Snoop Dogg almost getting a case. For him to realize, like, oh, nah, fuck this shit. I gotta leave this alone. You know, it took Tupac dying, I think, for him to go to No Limit. He had that short period at No Limit.
Because he dropped like an album, No Limit.
Yeah, exactly. And stuff. And quite a few people, like, slowly walked away from that
because lifestyle. The 90s had been building. People it's funny because since we're in a new time period, there's people that were born in the year 2000 that are now adults, right? And now, of course, they just got to their 18
as fuck
but now. They don't know how hip hop was in the 90s, where stuff would go down at shows. Like, there would be shootings backstage.
You had like, your faves getting, I mean, Tupac got a few chances before he was just taken out of here. You know, he shot quite a few times. And, you know, so way before 50 Cent. But I feel like I've heard people talk about it, like 50 Cent was that crusty, where it couldn't get any more ridiculous that way. It had to
and
come
then
back.
And then it started to die down.
He opened the door for someone like Kanye because it had gotten
Kanye, Drake, and then kind of started to come in
where
it was
we're just
rapping.
We're having a good time.
Life.
Like, can we just have talk about life? Let's have a good time.
Yeah.
Can you not shoot anybody? Can you not promote that lifestyle?
Yeah.
Because the people out here dying and really believe in it, and people are like, well, you say you're down with this clique, so we're gonna go handle this for you.
Yeah.
And so it was becoming a huge mess, and we lost Tupac and Biggie out of that mess.
Yeah.
And so finally,
and we lost others. We got Big L, Jam Master Jay. There's other people who died, shot and killed in the hood.
You know what I'm saying? Just trying to keep connections in a positive way. I think that was the biggest issue. Well, not the issue. The biggest thing surrounding
Jam Master Jay
was that he was in his hood trying to give back and not completely disconnect, and they took his life for that. Yeah. And I was like, well, fuck, how are we supposed to build people if y'all taking out the people who give a shit?
Because there's always because it's weird. Hip hop does have this intersection of artistry, of struggle, of musicianship, of poetry, but also gang culture. And like Africa Bambaataa, he got people breakdancing by being like, yo, all the gangs come here. Can we stop this so we can have a party?
Right.
So you literally had dudes that was robbing people yesterday that are dancing today.
Breaking and doing dance-offs. And I think that's such a positive force. But I think people forget about that, so they feel like they're inventing the wheel when they come back to this. And there's been this big disregard and somewhat even disdain for the greats in knowing your hip hop.
Yeah, it's like ain't nobody worried about that.
Exactly, because you see this from a lot of new rappers who are being put on, and to me that don't really have the skills. Like I was like, I'm hoping you're fat or you get better. You can either do okay. So when the Migos came out, I felt like I know they hot in ATL and this is like trap is big there, but I was like,
it's gonna be a fad.
It's gonna be a fad, and they weren't a fad, but I also think they got better at what they were trying to do. Yeah, like they were introducing some new type of rap. Now I listen to lots of Migos because I do think they got better, and maybe they got some assistance with that. That's fine.
Rambo.
But yeah, growth is great. Oh yeah, they definitely got assistance from that dude. Yeah. Most definitely. But I feel like the songs have definitely improved from Versace.
Yeah.
Woo, Versace was rough, and Drake gave that shit a cosign. I was like, "What are you doing, Drake?"
Man, he got kicked back from that song.
He's cloud jacking,
but he knows.
He stayed cloud jacking.
He knew it was hot. Drake has a team around him that keeps him on the pulse.
He does.
Stuff.
That's how he found The Weeknd. One of somebody in his crew put him onto The Weeknd. He even said that in an interview.
Back to Tekashi. Yeah. He's got these connections. He's saying that he's living this life. Mm-hmm. He's daring people to come after him. Right. He's doing all kinds of
it turns out maybe he was
criminal or criminalistic
Exactly. He
activity.
Was living, but I guess to continue your association with those people and the way he was doing it, because he's a young person, is you are doing things you probably shouldn't do, that you definitely don't need to do anymore, and you definitely shouldn't be doing. But for you to claim this association, these are the things you have to do, and it's caught up with them. And now you're hearing that a lot of people around him were warning him about it, like, hey, you're doing too much.
Ease up.
Ease up. You need to leave that alone altogether, because you're making money. You don't need any of that. And he didn't let it go in time. And then on top of that, he decides to cut all these people off. And I guess there has to be a right and a wrong way to do this, because other people have been managing to do it. But
it's weird because he cut them off right before the case came. So I wonder if he was trying to disassociate himself because he knew he was about to go to court.
He's been cut off for a minute because he was doing interviews this year about it.
Oh, well, yeah.
And it's like, I guess a year wouldn't be enough.
But I guess he saw the case stuff coming, so he was like, "Well, if I just say I won't with them."
Then that gave him two problems. It gave him the law, and then gave him the old crew that he cut off. Yeah. Right now, they're like, "Oh, you gonna cut us off of the money train?" Oh no, we coming. So they're very real threats. Because remember, he had somebody who's like try to kidnap him.
Yep.
And so yeah, he's been having a lot of problems. And so one of the first reasons why he got taken into custody, I think, was more around trying to protect him. Because I think he might have been a witness. And they really wanted him, and now he's in the same boat. Maybe because he decided he didn't want to testify.
But now he is going to testify. He's going to cooperate
because he's just trying. You got new life that you would like to enjoy.
Yeah, because he's talking about real time.
See, federal time on that. It's not even like a little federal time. It's a lot of federal time. I think 30 years was what they were, 28 or something like that.
See, and then
federal time.
And people like
you have to serve every day of that time.
Yeah, and like people, I saw some people in the comments like, "Oh, well, I'd rather do state time than federal time." It's like, nah. Like I know state seems like, but see, federal, you can't see. If it's state, you might be able to get something going in your locality to possibly get things turned around. Federal is a whole nother level to get like an appeal or whatever. Right. Like, and you gotta serve that time.
Unless you find out you was like they made a huge mistake, you doing it, buddy.
And they got him. And all that sexual stuff is about to come back up.
Coming back into the fray. And he did so much to incarcerate himself. Like, it's like incriminate himself.
Yeah,
Incriminate himself. It was like, dude, you're always talking about this shit, braggadocious. Like, and that stuff will come back and haunt you. Like, there has been such a huge uptick in people getting, like, got by their own admission because they're Insta-living, Facebook living.
Yep.
Remember the Facebook live video of the dude showing off his guns and his money, and the police show up while he's doing the Facebook live because he's been doing this for a hot minute. He's like local,
that was funny,
neighborhood drug dude.
That was funny,
and they busted him on Facebook live. Like, dude,
yo, straight up,
like slow your roll.
With this saying,
right.
I just want to reiterate and I guess how should I say? Perform or recite some of my favorite lyrics from a rapper that I really enjoy. His name is MF Doom. The name of the song is Rap Snitches.
Really?
Rap snitches telling all their business. Sit in the court, be their own star witness. Do you see the perpetrator? Yeah, I'm right here.
I gotta go back and listen to some MF Doom.
I love Rap Snitches.
I love MF Doom. He's like, he's the most slept on, like, most awesome rapper, though. That gets, like, like, you ask any rapper, like, hey, do you like MF Doom? And they'll be like, yes!
Yeah, Doom is dope.
Doom is dope! But where Doom at? Like, he should have been Doom
would be mad quiet. And then just be like, oh, should I have an album?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I just need to
Victor Von, Doom. Exactly. It's like, yo, you need to check him out.
And I was like, man, I feel like if he came mainstream, he would blow so many people out of the water.
Yeah, because it's like, he did Villain. He did, he did, what is it? The Food album. Then he did Mad Villain. Then he did the Cartoon Network joint. I can't remember the name. That with Danger Mouse. Doom is from New York, I think. Yeah. But Down Rock Records, you'll let us know where it's from.
I feel like Doom he reminds me so much of a Bay Area artist. And that feel like they grind for they team, they area so hard until they live for years under the radar, and then they just pop onto the scene eventually because the buzz gets so great.
We need some of that E40. E40 watches the show.
Right, exactly.
I would love to chop it up with E40
because all of them own like their own record company. Like they're really like, I love the Bay because they are so indie. They were indie before it was a thing, before it was popular, before Chance came along. No shade to Chance. Chance definitely made that shit mainstream. But when you really think about it, think about all the greats coming from the Bay. Everybody you like from the Bay. They all got record companies. Why? Because they're putting out their own shit. Yeah. I think the only reason Too Short signed with, they've been bugging him for years. I remember watching something. They said they're bugging him about it. He kept saying, no, because he make more money. When he did the math, he's making more money doing plenty just out the back of his car.
Yeah.
And eventually, I think he signed something that's similar to Drake's deal, where it's just distributing his stuff for him. Like, I give you I pay you a small little something to give me greater what's the word? Distribution and stuff. So yeah, so I was like, and he's like, in those terms are super favorable because he's like, I don't need you. Yeah. Understand. So I always like that about the Bay Area, and that's how I kind of feel about MF Doom. Like he don't need like the big thing, but they need him.
Now, so I'll leave Tekashi 6ix9ine with this because I know he watches the show. Look, you talked all this mess. You know, now a lot of these chickens are coming home to roost, but you do have a daughter. So go on and cooperate however you need to cooperate so you can spend time with your daughter. Because bottom line is, that's the only thing that really matters through all of this whole circus thing that you've been doing. The only thing that really matters is that little girl. Hopefully you can raise her up right. Now, all the other mess, you don't have to get a handle on that. You saying people threatening you in your life, you kind of ask for it. But hopefully you can keep that little girl safe. But guys, look, you too, all right? Being gangster ain't cool. And also remember, if you are going to be gangster, don't put it on the internet. That's why like the mob and KGB and stuff, that's why they do so well, because they don't talk about it. It's organized crime. And they don't say it.
And like, we're not here for you to win anyway. I mean, it's just I think we're equally just in awe of how stupid the movie
are. And then when what is it? Was it Darius McCray? Daryl McKay? I can't remember. He's on Twitter. I replied to him, but some of his fans, Tekashi's fans, made a Facebook Live meetup or something, or a Facebook event to break him out of jail. And it was just like, no.
Well, we're gonna leave 6ix9ine to his faith.
Now we have a happy story.
What's another happy story?
Payless.
Oh my goodness, Payless.
Who doesn't know about Payless shoes?
Yeah, everybody knows about Payless. That was the dozens. You know, you got that cap like, those Payless shoes.
Payless. Look, everybody knows about Payless. You've been in Payless at least once.
Right.
At least once. Right. The shoe store, they're usually one of the smaller stores. I remember
when I was younger, we went to Payless and the shoes weren't actually that bad. I remember having a few pairs of shoes that I really liked from Payless as a kid. Yeah. I think their kid shoes are always slapping. But as time has gone on, Payless has continued to cut corners to remain cheap. I think that's just a symptom of society at large. Yeah. Their value for goods that they need and want continue to shrink, and they don't think they should be paying as much for them. But then they are not being paid properly for the work they do. So it's very systematic. What's the word I'm looking for? It's like
what's systemic?
Systemic, there we go. Yeah. Issue. I'm always trying to use words that won't come out of my mouth. It's in my head, but it won't come out of my mouth. But anyway, and so they filed bankruptcy recently, and that's how this all came about. So their idea was to show that luxury is a farce, which I totally agree with.
There's a lot of subjectivity wrapped up in luxury,
especially today, because while people demand luxury and want luxury, I would say demand because a lot of people want to live above their means. True. I was like, I'm somebody who I feel like I much rather pay for something that's well made, that will last me, but the way our very badly situated economy is, it's all about you constantly buying stuff because we haven't realized we need to evolve from that. Like, you saturate your market eventually gets to the point where everybody has whatever it is that you're selling. It is a need. Yeah. And stuff. And if you don't, eventually we don't come up with a type of system where you are not required to constantly buy for your economy to be okay, we're going to be in real trouble. And we produce a lot of junk trying to keep our pockets with money. You know, if I'm constantly throwing away shoes and other things every couple of months so you can keep your business afloat and your workers can take home a wage to get the things they do need, like housing and food and stuff like that, we have seas full of junk for a reason, because there's a lot of toss away items in that.
Yeah.
But this comes back to, I guess, them feeling some kind of way about them filing bankruptcy. So the idea was it's behind them, freshly behind them only by a few months, and they wanted to show that luxury is a force, which it is, because a lot of times people who are doing luxury items are not making them well. I hear about people talking about how much red bottom shoes hurt. I forget what's red bottom shoes.
Is it Jimmy Choo?
No, it's not Jimmy Choo. It's older than Jimmy Choo. I forget.
I don't know, but is
that what Louis Vuitton is? I don't know. I don't know about these items.
Whatever, red bottom shoes.
The red bottom shoes, those super expensive shoes. I literally heard a woman, they were doing a documentary on them and like all the culture around them, and people buy these shoes used, and how they go about verifying, making sure that they're really these shoes and stuff like that. And the women were admitting like these shoes are very uncomfortable. They're created by men who don't wear them and stuff. And I definitely think that plays into it when you're not wearing your products, or you don't tend to you can't even understand. So they put a lot of quality into it because the shoes supposedly last a very long time. That's why you can resell them, and they're more of an investment, which is
shoes being a speculative market has always been a problem for me.
Right, exactly. So I have some difficulties with that one.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, if you say so. I think shoes are like basic necessities, and while some people will pay for certain shoes, if you don't got the money to buy that shoe, don't buy the shoe. Don't buy it justifying saying it's an investment. Please don't do that. But moving on. And so, like, even when it comes to luxury items that are giving you quality, materials and stuff, they can be very uncomfortable. I would never personally wear those shoes because I'm not into painful shoes. I do like weird shoes, though. I will pay money for weird shoes, but they have to be comfortable. I am preferring now to have more and more natural things put into them, because leather just lasts longer than a lot of the man-made materials and stuff like that. And so anyway, I've gotten better at like critiquing my shoes, not based on what's cool or what's posh, but what's comfortable and what works for me. And I think that's probably what more people need to go to, and how long the shoes last and what the material does and where it's coming from. A lot of people don't think about that. It's like, who's wearing this shoe and who's popularizing it? And so what made this even more ridiculous is the culture around it. So they invited influencers to show you your influencers are everyday people. And I think when the whole idea started, most of these people were actually passionate about what they covered. But now I feel like we're in our third, fourth generation of influencers. Yeah. We're not anywhere near the original ones. Three, getting into 4, because there's people starting.
Because there's people that have given up and people who have started up.
Right. There's people who have blown up. There's been another wave of people who've blown up after them. There's people who are like on their way. And there's people who like, because now micro influencers are a thing. Where if you got at least 1,000 people.
If you got at least 1,000 followers.
And then that's the thing. I've done work. I'm influencer adjacent, I guess. I know plenty of people who have those kind of accounts, so I get some freelance work off of that. They're like, girl, I ain't gonna go do that. You want to do that? I'm like, all right, I'll do it. You want me to write something for you? Okay.
I'm on micro influencer level.
We're getting there, though. We're getting there. So you know what? Hit up all his social medias, because if he can get to at least 1,000 on Instagram,
then I can tell you Payless shoes are good.
Exactly. So that's what it was. They had these influencers come in. And this is so this
whole event,
a whole big event. They make this makeup name. It's a new. This is also exactly. It's a play on pop-up culture.
Yeah.
A lot of people are doing pop-ups. It used to be pop-ups by already established brands, and you either really cared about the brand or you didn't, and that's why you went to the pop-up. Now a lot of people do pop-ups just because anytime people I guess now are trained when they hear pop-up, they're like, oh, shit, I gotta go. So they have all these influencers show up because you want to be the first. The thing about pop-ups is that a lot of times you're paying, even if you are somebody like an influencer, you're going to pay for the item, because the idea is, one, you can claim you're the first person with it, you can do your reviews, and then what you're going to do is, because this is supposed to be a pop-up and it's supposed to be limited, you're going to flip it, pretty much like you would a house.
Yeah.
You're going to sell it afterwards. You not plan on keeping these. So that happens at Complex Con. Complex Con is the most extreme case of consumerism I've ever seen in my life. Like, you literally, it's a con to go and spend. Like, most cons are about spending money.
Complex Con must be kind of like designer con then.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's just like, because designer con is like basically, it's like art and toys. That's it.
Right.
And you're going to go broke.
You're going to go broke. And so this is streetwear. Mostly,
so you're gonna go broke.
Are the the hottest trends? Like, it's streetwear, and it's also big brands that are hot with streetwear people. So your Adidas, your Nikes, and all that. Like, is got big interactive
like Supreme,
Supreme. All those people are there, and you're breaking yourself. And a lot of people are buying it not to even keep it.
They buy it so they can sell it.
All showed up on eBay the very next day. I almost felt like I wish I would have caught something. So I go as media or press. And I'm just, whoo. Now, they do have great entertainment. I love any place that gives me free alcohol as part of their immersive experience.
That's nice.
Stuff like that. So it wasn't all bad. And they did have some, like, the performances that they have are who's hot in the industry, because it is Complex Magazine who's doing it. So they got some really hot people who come through the door. All their sessions have, like, top talent at them. So there is that.
And the dude Gary V, who watches this show, was also there this year. That just passed. Or no, not this year, that just passed. This year, 2018.
Right. So this thing is like, it's a playful, like, it's pretty much a blurb of a story, but I think it ties again to a lot of things. That why it was even to be successful. So they get these influencers to show up to the pop-up. They're paying $600 a shoe. Yo. And the shoes are only worth $20-$30.
Yep.
So I was like, this is the whole, like, what's hot, but you don't know what's good.
Yeah.
What's good and what's hot are not the same.
Yeah. And it's they played into pop culture, pop-up culture, exclusion culture. Because sometimes what you'll do is you'll create exclusionary pricing to make people want it more.
Right.
And I know that sounds weird, but
nope.
But the way it works is, and I can't remember, there's an actual definition behind it, but the way it works is, if it's hard to obtain this, then I feel better owning it because my self-worth is tied into what other people can't have.
Right.
And it's played out. It's basically Supreme's, like, business
model. The whole thing.
Yeah.
Supreme is like the most basic shit on earth. I've been to store like twice.
But honestly, Supreme just stole Iceberg style.
Really?
Iceberg was doing it before them. And I'm sure somebody was doing it before Iceberg.
Like, you just give them like basic shit. I was like, I swear to God,
like, this basic, but this t-shirt is $200.
You know what? I want to do streetwear, but I was telling him I want to do a fashion line, but I really want to have fun with it and really, like, I just want to make, like, fun, dope shit. And I guess I would make it regardless of anybody bought it, kind of thing.
But who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Who knows? Let me see. Is there any comments here? Okay, so wait a minute. MF Doom is dope. Yes, he certainly is. I buy all my chief shoes from. Oh, that's the name.
My chef shoes from
Payless.
They're non-slips are great.
Right. And so so I was like, they got these guys. My comment, I think I shared the story, was like, got them.
Yeah.
Because I say, you can't Payless. Oh, it's such a play on them because it's like it's literally Payless with like almost with an I.
Yeah. It's Payless. But it sounds like fancy money.
And so I guess this is like a shade. This is like a read by Payless shoes. Say, we went bankrupt offering cheap shoes, but if we went and dressed it up, I would buy this stuff.
And we learned, this is our second time learning this lesson this year, because Banksy did that whole thing where he was like, yo, y'all don't care, and I'm gonna show you why y'all don't care. I'm gonna sell this, I'm gonna shred it in all of y'all's faces, and then he's still gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna sell it even more now because it's not the art.
Yeah, it's not the art.
It can be on a piece of notebook paper.
Right.
It's not
because they said he authenticated it by doing that.
Yeah.
So now everybody knows it's for sure Banksy's, which is he doesn't authenticate any of his art. The only way to authenticate a piece he's made is seeing it if it's on his website.
Yeah.
He has a website that he posts all his artwork, so you can go find it. And if it's on there, they usually assume it's the same painting. because he doesn't usually leave clues to where it's at. So, and a lot of times, because of the nature of Banksy's art, which is on public property, a lot of times it gets painted over.
Yep.
Sometimes before people can really find it. Like some people, unless you're an early bird, when he did his residency in New York a couple of years ago, people didn't know what that shit was. They just knew it was graffiti on there, or whatever.
So they just painted it over.
And so then once people, it was funny because at the beginning of the residency, because it's a documentary on Netflix if you want to watch it on it. At the beginning of it, people didn't know what was going on, so it was getting painted over. Then it was still getting painted over. Some of the owners were cutting it out and selling it themselves. You had other graffiti artists that are bitter as fuck and haters. I forget, they had a term for it where you pretty much clout jack. So you spray your name or something you do like on
beside it or
something. On it. So there's no way to separate it from there. So anytime somebody takes a picture of that, they're taking a picture of that. To me, if I saw that shit, I would think that is weak as fuck. That's me. Like, you can do that, but I'm gonna think
you gotta let somebody get their own shine.
Exactly. I think, but some people had to critique, like, how dare he come to our city and do this? There's a culture already. We invented this, and I'm like, okay, you put it on the map. I'm sure. I can definitely tell you people in LA at the same time people were doing it in New York were doing it. And we have much more freer range. They weren't chasing us like they were chasing them.
Yeah. But I guess it's probably because they were like...
Graffiti culture definitely existed in LA in like the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Like, y'all ain't the only people that was doing that. I was like, that's my only critique of New York is like, if they do something... New York
feels like they did everything first. And this is a shout to everybody in New York, because everybody in New York watches the show. But y'all be thinking y'all did everything
first. Like, nobody did, and if they did do it before us, nobody did it as good as we did. And you're like, okay, slow your roll.
Like,
but anyway, it's not to get into like a bi-coastal beef. Because I like New York. I like going
ain't
to
no
New York.
East-West beef up on this show.
Exactly. I'm still gonna rep my West Coast, but whatever.
Yeah.
These palm trees and
it's funny.
Sunniness.
It's funny. I'm East Coast, but I'm also like slightly anti-New York because it's like I have so much family. I have so much family from New York. So if you're not from New York, but you have tons of family from New York, you are so tired of hearing like, oh, y'all can't do this here in New York. You can do whatever. It's all the time.
It's like, why do you visit? Like,
it's like,
I was never that.
Why did you come down south?
Right,
you stay your butt in New York. South,
and I stay your butt in New York. The South for what?
Don't never come down here no more. Stay your butt in New York.
I did that one year, and like my cousin clowned me for it, and it hurt. I was like, you're right though, and I never talked about LA or California anymore. I go down and visit my people in the Deep South, and I was just enjoy being down there.
Yeah,
and I'm so glad I switched it up,
it's like,
because that's like, those are like some of my most fondest memories now, is running around with my cousins in the South. So I'm like in the woods and shit. I'm like, I love that,
because it's like, I like New York. New York for me, because my family will say New York is the best city in the world. I will add a caveat: to visit. Mm-hmm. After about 4 to 5 days, I'm New Yorked out. I am.
I went for it.
After about 4 or 5 days, I'm like, I'm cool.
First time, I think I did a week, and I'll say, unless you got that energy to have like mad stuff planned, like, to me, I feel like either you're moving at the pace of New Yorkers, and I think that keeps it fascinating. Like, the first time I went like young, and I was like, oh, we're hitting. It was great. And then I got a little older, and I was trying to do like New York at my pace. And I had moments where I was just kind of bored, and then I got weird. I was going through like weird disorientation because of the lack of sunlight, because of the buildings. I don't know. When I was younger, it didn't seem to. I was very much more gothy and punky, so the darkness was definitely going with me. But this time around, I was like, it's the middle of the day, it's summer.
And it's like, it's sun out, but it's like the way the building is blocking it. Or
if you're in Manhattan, there's just like, I feel like there's not enough sunlight getting to the ground floor, which is the street you're walking on.
It's always kind of like shaded streets.
Exactly. And that was somehow like disorientating to me. But anyways, we're like, look, we'll come visit. We're definitely coming to visit.
You know what? We're going to do a pop-up in New York.
Exactly. Just,
lounging pop-up.
Details
coming soon.
But anyway, my point about Banksy was like, you had people who their feelings were tied into what they felt about him.
Yeah.
And he had some really impressive art that he did at the time. He did all kinds of cool stuff during that residency. But one thing he did do that he only posted about after the fact he did it, is he paid an older man. And that's the beautiful thing. He understands like work and payment. So he paid a random man to do a painting shop, like not shop, like how the street vendors.
Yeah.
And so he set it up. And did it say work by Banksy? I don't know if it did. I don't think it did. But it was all his most recognizable works. The police officers, the girl with the balloon, and some of them were this big, it's like small little portraits, like 8x10s, to like being like pretty big.
The 18 by 24 or whatever.
And stuff like that. Maybe a little smaller than 1824, but at least, about 18. And
pretty big.
Stuff that you should recognize as Banksy.
Yeah.
Like, if you're into Banksy as much as you claim to be, if you're about his art as much as you claim to be, you should be able to recognize this. And so, there's usually this mad dash to go and take pictures with or of Banksy's when he posts it on his website. You did not get that kind of energy with this post with this guy without it saying Banksy in it, and they were all signed by him. If you got one of these, they're signed, they're authenticated, and they were all going for $60.
And
and people are just walking by. I thought that was the most hilarious thing he did.
And see, people do that in New York a lot. There was besides Banksy, there was a guy, and I can't remember. Someone
so you don't care about the art. It's not the art.
Yeah,
it's the resale value. It's the exclusivity. It's not about
somebody
the
at like the New York Phil or something, like the New York Philharmonic or whatever it was. He was like this.
Well, Erykah Badu did that.
Oh, where? Oh.
She in New York again. New York. She was in a subway singing for change. And she had did something to her.
He was like this world-renowned violinist that gets paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to play a violin. And he went in the subway, and people just walked by him. He filmed it because he was like, and then and his statement was like, people don't care about the
art,
about
you realize it,
not symphony music, classical music. He was like, his statement was something like, people don't care about classical music. They like how it makes them feel. Like, meaning like people listen to classical music not because they like it, but it makes them feel like they're above you because
it's about status and clout.
Yeah.
And I said, I think that's even unfortunate about Erykah Badu, because I love Erykah Badu. And Erykah Badu's performances, which I've only been to one, but my understanding of it is that at every performance, she gives you a different performance.
Yeah.
She does not
I've seen her twice. I've went to see her once, but she popped up at I went to DC to see Mos Def and Kweli, I think, and she showed up. Like, everybody showed up at that show, actually. It was a crazy show. We got lost in DC and everything. It was crazy that night. But, like, Pharoah Monch, Common, the Roots came through, Erykah showed up. That was a dope night. That was a crazy good night. But, yeah, like, she just showed up, but just showed up and sing. But, yeah, people will always do that and be like, yo, people don't care about art no more.
Right.
They don't.
And so it's like me, I would stop. I'm that kind of person where if you're singing or you're doing something, I've taken pictures of this stuff on the street and stuff because the art is what captures my eye. Yeah. But a lot of people.
I will say that New York is a city that if you're a photographer, just carry your camera and tons of batteries because there's always going to be something to see, especially if you love, like me, if you guys follow my other like corporate account where I do photography and stuff, I like capturing people just normal natural lighting outside in the day or whatever, and New York is a perfect place to do that. See, LA you could, but LA is so spread out.
Right.
So it's a little different. But New York is a great place to do that. So
very concentrated.
Yeah, it's very because everybody's on like one of 3 islands. I think New York is made up as 3 islands, maybe 4. But something like that. But everybody's
but
like,
all highly
everybody's in one spot.
New York is the size of a smaller city, and it's just like this. Everybody's on top of each other, and I think that sometimes I was like, I don't think I could live here for long.
That's why I said,
I was like,
4 or 5 days.
I was a little bit. I've actually adapted better to small towns that I've lived in at short time periods, just because there's more space in those towns. Yeah. And I think I could get along with New York. I was like, just because I'm like, ooh, it's all coming at you real fast.
Yeah.
And I didn't think, I was like, just like I have to tell my New Yorker friends to slow down when they move out here. I would speed up. Like, you're going to have to, like,
because, like, LA used to be like, yo, I'll get there when I get there.
You know, the hustle, even the hustle, like, I'm not saying we ain't out here grinding in New York, in LA, but New York don't play and show interest in somebody's shit. They ready. Just so you know, when somebody's on that grind in New York, don't do the LA thing where you're like, oh yeah, well let me know what you do. And
that's what I love about the New York and
I got it every way you can consume this art. If I write, I've got multiple things. I've got it on hard drive for you. I got it on my phone. I can text it to you. I can they will bury you.
That's one thing I do prefer to the East Coast from the West Coast. The East Coast is a little more direct.
Right.
At least when it comes to the industry that we're in.
Well, yeah, direct.
They'll let you know at the door, you ain't our type, we don't want you. Right. And I know that sounds mean, but the good thing is you didn't waste 6 months to a year trying to figure out how to work in here, and they didn't want you there no way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That happens all the time in LA. You're somewhere 2 years and you find out that they were never going to promote you or put you up and you're like, what?
Anyway.
See, New York will let you know at the door, we don't want you.
And they're really not playing about it. They like, hey, I'm in it to win it. Let's go win it. And I'm like, yeah, I feel that. I feel that. So there's definitely great things about it. But anyway, the whole point with the whole story was Payless is that it's showing us
once again
that we're not about so much art and craft like we think we are. Because I feel like if that was the case, a lot of luxury brands would be.
Especially that one girl that was like, she was like, I like the colors, how it's put together. This is a very fun shoe or whatever. Like she really, you can see that she
was rough.
You can see that she liked the shoe. Like she honestly liked it. And then when she said it was Payless, she was like, her face was like. She was just done after that.
You know what? What I missed from this story that I don't feel like I read was whether or not did they do. I mean, I know the shoes are $20-$30. Yeah. But did they do like really? I didn't see the pictures of the shoes. I just read the story.
Oh well, there's a video and it's on. But there's a video where they show them like holding the shoes and talking about the shoes, and they refunded everybody's money, so everybody got their money back. But it was just proving like our shoes are just as good as anybody else's shoes. Y'all are just hating.
I don't agree with that statement. However, I know with there's a lot about this that I did like. Yeah. But at the end of the day, there was a time where I was in between jobs and I had to buy Payless shoes. Yes, definitely. Shots by Nolan. Props to Payless for exposing fake tastemakers. This is an issue.
Yep.
Like, cause it's one thing if you have real good taste, and it doesn't mean you don't have to be from like a high up background or fancy place to have excellent taste. There's people in the hood that have superb taste, and if it was coming from anybody else, who would be paying them thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars
but they're from the hood.
But they're from the hood.
You put your own.
So that's the flip side of this. There's plenty of people who are not in, your traditional places that can be excellent tastemakers. And I'm always telling people to like really own what they create for that reason. However, there's a lot of people who already have money. I've definitely heard of like the Instagram influencers that pay for all their followers. They kind of pay for their buzz. Or, they're really fake about it. They're like pretending half of the times, especially a lot of traveling is being like seen as like you're not actually doing traveling, because traveling doesn't have to be expensive, but to do it fancy like will be.
Yeah.
If you're backpacking, that's probably you backpacking. You know, yeah. You know, if you're saying, "Oh, I'm going to all these fancy destinations," that even means your family has money,
or you're being sponsored somehow.
It's not even sponsored. You could just be faking it. Who knows?
True.
Like if you say it's one place, but it's actually another place. You know, so that's the thing. It's like know who.
It's like I'm in the Marriott in France right now. This is like
right.
The Marriott in Fort Lauderdale.
No, thank you. Shots by Nolan, and he's like, exactly. I said, know who you're following, know what they're about, and people who are talking about what they're talking about. Like we do this show because these are things these are conversations we're already having, and we decided to say, hey, we're inviting y'all to come into the conversation. We're like, does any?
Because we care about you guys.
Like I'm also thinking like these are things that people don't say, or at least nobody's saying them.
Or people are doing these shows and they're not black, so we need to give our perspective.
That too. I just feel like a lot of times I'll be hearing stuff, even if I am listening to black people, I'm like, why didn't they just say that? Like I feel like everybody's thinking it and nobody said it. And so I was like, my whole attitude of why I'm doing all the things I'm doing now, and that's to say doing it now versus before I was doing it because I was on a different career path, is I got tired of looking online, looking at television, reading newspapers and going, why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they saying this?
Yeah, why aren't they talking about this?
And then I got fired. Finally, I was like, well, why don't you do it? You know, and I was like, and it's not always easy to do, but it's worth doing. So that's why we're here doing it. And we don't sit here and pretend like we got all the answers, that we know about everything.
We don't have all the answers, Sway. We don't. Sway watches the show. Sway, you know I don't have all the answers.
No, it's Sway.
But neither do
don't
you.
Have all the answers.
Neither do you, Sway.
How Sway? That was wrong. Kanye is Sway so
Kanye neither. Kanye.
Has Sway interviewed Kanye since then?
No.
I wouldn't either. I mean, because it was so. Sway's like the sweetest guy.
Also, Kanye's been used by political means, so he's been.
Well, that happened a while ago. That's why I asked if Sway had been interviewed before he just went full on Captain Coon. Don't go full Coon.
Yo, man.
And then trying to backtrack in the weirdest way, and we're just like, dude,
bro, we cool on you right now. We alright.
Make some beats.
But that's pretty much Payless, y'all. Yeah. That's the show. I think we had. Do we have anything?
We did have the series.
Oh yes. Okay. Man, that's a tough one to end on. All right, cool. Well, we'll just.
Well, we have another one after that, so we can soften it again.
Okay, cool. So there's a story, you probably saw it, about the Syrian refugees. There was a brother and sister that were in, I can't remember what the name of the school was. They were bullied out of school, and the video came out, and it became viral pretty fast.
Of this boy beating up this Syrian refugee.
Yeah.
And
beating him up, and then there was another video where his sister, they were trying to take her job off. Right. And it happened in succession very fast, gets viral, gets crazy, people want answers. The bad thing is that this guy named Tom, and I cannot remember his last name, comes out like, oh, well, yeah, this Muslim boy, he was mean first or something like that. And it's like, no, it wasn't. And like people keep coming out with proof that he didn't do anything. And I just wanted to shine a light on America. I know it seems like America's crazy, and America definitely is crazy. But this kind of, I don't even want to say conservative, because we're conflating a nationalist supremacist ideology with just being conservative. So, but there is a nationalist supremacist ideology that's permeating all around the world now.
Right.
There's a very
It's an uptick in Europe where they're having the really far right make more grounds in the mainstream political.
Like this kind of ideology all over the world is happening, where it's like, the immigrants are the problem, or they're the other, and you got to be scared of them. He even brought up the same thing. He was like Muslim gangs, and it's just like it's literally the playbook.
Where's your Muslim gang? I need to see this Muslim. Where's your proof? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I feel like that doesn't exist.
Man,
I I'm not certain that there's no Muslim gangs, but I just feel like
I'm sure they exist, but this boy that was getting this boy that was getting bullied and beaten, and they said his arm was already broken because of a previous encounter with some other boys. This boy and other boys like him are being bullied and beaten all around the world because they're other, because they're from Syria, they're Middle Eastern or whatever. Xenophobia. Xenophobia. So and it's starting to grow more and more. And leading back to your T-shirt, we got to make that. Bitches need to vote, or what is it? Bitches need to vote. Bitches got to vote.
Bitches need to vote.
Bitches need to vote because this stuff is getting worse.
LaStar proverb.
And you got to remember. And it's getting worse, and we need to vote because as it gets worse, xenophobia doesn't stop.
Yeah, xenophobia it's got layers.
You might be like, oh man, well they only talk about the Middle East, so they only talking about like people from like let's say from Egypt up to Afghanistan, something like that. Even though I know Egypt is part of Africa, but at the time they say that Middle East was part of Africa anyway. So I'm saying that area where people are
there are definitely
brown
I've met
people,
quite a few Middle Easterns that mark the African American box.
Yeah. So that area, they're like, oh, there's just Muslims, and saying Muslim, and pretty much saying Muslim as a way to just say Middle Eastern or whatever, and using it as a derogatory term.
Eastern. I feel like they're that. And I don't know how that works, but marginalized groups come in tiers.
Yeah.
And there's like they tiers where depending on the circumstances,
they'll have the hot seat.
You get the hot seat.
Yeah.
And this is like, oh, we can pick on this particular group without fear of there being a whole bunch of pushback. And I think that can only be ended, one, by voting, but two, like I've always maintained that voting isn't the only thing we need to do. Because we have to really get in there and fight to convince the people who are on the fence and let's not get into why they're on the fence about this.
Yeah.
But know that people are on the fence about it.
Yeah. Because they don't want to get involved, they don't want to make trouble, whatever.
They can see both sides, and like for me,
yeah.
And I do a lot of that. Where people get very bent out with me because I'm like, okay, well I can see two sides, but in certain times there's no two sides. Yeah.
They're seeing a side that's being fabricated by a government that wants them to stay docile.
That narrative, like, this gets into another subject I often talk about. It's about, who's telling your story, who's controlling the narrative about something that affects you. And I feel like what might be the issue is that there aren't enough, from what I can see, and I could be completely wrong, that I don't see enough activists who are Muslim or of that background.
Yeah.
And again, I've already said it earlier, nobody should be speaking for you. Like, I'm big on empowering others to lift their voices for their cause, because no one will be able to attack it.
Lift every voice.
With the nuance that you have. Mm-hmm. Nobody's going to get it right. And even when it is your own story, because depending on how old you are, how much you know about it, you can still have times where you thought one way and you came to a realization it's different. So, so me telling your story, never going to happen. I'm not going to take that on because I don't want to be disrespectful to you. I don't want to get it wrong. Why am I taking your place? This is the whole idea where there's enough seats for everybody because you really need them. I don't have enough time in the day to understand your experience to the level that you understand it. There's no way for me to even do that. Yeah. So instead of just doing that, I mean, there's so many reasons why we should just really be empowering each other and supporting one another in telling our stories and not get into this like oppression Olympics, I got it worse than you do kind of thing. Don't be disrespectful to somebody else's struggle, even if you feel like it is not as severe as your own. Yeah. Because there is levels to shit. I ain't saying there's levels.
There's definitely levels
to shit.
But I see this thing closing in and knowing.
It's gonna shut down a conversation. Yeah. If you're quick to say, "Well, your shit ain't as bad as me." To the left, to the left. You never gonna get nowhere with that.
Because I don't personally know anyone who's Syrian at all, but seeing what's going on over here looks very similar. Like the guy Tom who was telling all the lies, so about he tried to go down. Oh well, he was a bully first, and when that got proven wrong, he was like, well, he hangs with Muslim gangs. It's like I'm looking at the same playbook.
Corner store, whatever. It's
Corner store Caroline.
Yeah, it's the same playbook. Like she said he did this. Well, we got videos saying that's not what happened. Oh, well, the mom was doing that. Like, really, like, it's her child. She's protecting and you're attacking and stuff. Well, they should have did this. Why didn't they just leave? Well, you had already called the police, and if they left, then they would have been technically fleeing the scene. Right. So it's like, again, control your narrative. Yeah. Because the people who are usually doing this, xenophobic, bigot type of aggressive behavior, they've got a million lies they're going to spill to justify what they're doing.
And it doesn't. And the reason we got to vote and we got to speak out is because it doesn't end.
Yeah, you have to call it out.
Say if there were no more Syrian refugees and I cannot remember the area that we're in. I'm sorry. I was trying to remember the name of the school, but say they're in, I don't know, somewhere in Europe. Say they're in the UK. All right, they're in London. Say they're in the city of London. I'm just making this up. If all the Syrian refugees left the city of London, guess what? Those people would find someone else.
Yeah, because it was the West Indies people.
That's why we gotta fight this because it's not.
It's just they find another group.
Thank you.
They just move on to the group.
Thank you.
And that's why I always look at like people who are like I tell the story all the time about this doctor I was talking to at a university, and I was challenging that it's in everybody's interest to fight bigotry and racism and any type of hate. Yeah. Wherever it lies. And she said, while I'm definitely for doing that, there is no advantage to me fighting racism. This is a white woman with a doctorate's degree. And I challenged her. I said, bigotry doesn't know any limits. I said, that's the same attitude. I always give the analogy of the attitude people had towards AIDS when it popped up. It was seen as a gay disease. A lot of people were like, hey, this is God's work. Gonna step over here, and it spread. And then eventually what happened, because they thought their imaginary biases were going to somehow protect them, instead of
and then they also forgot that people that are gay don't only sleep with people of the same sex. It's point. Like it wasn't even logical.
That's part of the point. The point is like the logic and the bias is so strong that it shuts down critical thinking skills. Yeah. It really does.
It's like this is you thought your bias. Stop it. It doesn't matter who
your version of your religion, because I'm not going to put that on Christians. Your version of Christianity was going to protect you from a real disease, and then it becomes where it expands. Where you probably maybe if we got on this early, it wouldn't be as big as it is.
Might have been able to crush it and kill it.
Early quarantine it and let people know early, like, hey, you guys got to change these ways, because doing that takes time. Yep. So the longer it's sitting around, a lot of people caught it because they know nobody wanted to do research on
they weren't testing for it. They weren't looking for it.
So a lot of people got it through like even though Rock Hudson, he was the movie star.
Rock Hudson,
yeah. Even though he was gay, they theorized he didn't get it from his lover because he had like one lover at the time. I'm sure he had more, but he was pretty steady with one partner at that time. He got it from, he was about 59, so he had some kind of surgery, and they were thinking it was in the blood transfusion he got.
Wow.
That's the same way Arthur Ashe got it. He had another heart thing, a bypass. Okay. That's how he got it. That's how Ryan White got it. I was like, there's a lot of people who are getting the disease because nobody took the time, because they allowed their bias to say, my bias, not your religion, not your whatever, but my prejudice is going to protect me from this because you're the other group. I don't agree with your lifestyle.
Yeah. Now I will say this about the white woman that is a doctor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's semi-correct. Here's why. Because she'll be at the very end of the line.
But that's not the point.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's how she's looking at it. Though. She's like,
no, she's not looking at that.
She's like, y'all gotta get all the people. Because not only am I white, I've got money and I'm educated. It'll be a long time before you come over to me.
But my thing is, that's my point, because I started with AIDS because we were talking at gay group. So to bring it to a hit at where you're saying that among this, we were at Gay Center. I said, well, that's the same mentality that got AIDS being what it was today. Then I said, you think somebody who doesn't like me because of my skin color doesn't have a problem with you being a woman, an educated woman? Do you have a husband yet? And we had straight people in the audience, so I said, I didn't assume your sexuality, but hey, if you're over here, that person who doesn't like me for my skin color, they might have a problem with all those things.
True.
So the same things you think are going to make you last on their list
could make you first.
Or could make you right after. Exactly. Where you're right after me. After he gets rid of all the queer, educated women of another color, guess who he's coming back from? And those same groups that are usually really like those same far right. I've definitely heard that talk from like Aryan Nation people that they hate the other races, but they do have a firm place where they think women should be, and it's not some educated, liberated bullshit. Nah. So you're picking that. Yeah, that's what you're picking. So I was like, I pointed out, I was like, how swiftly. I said, and it's already happening. White middle class people are talking about how they feel, how they're under attack by their own government, because slowly now they've kind of burned through all the marginalized groups. Yeah. They squeezed all they could out of us, and now they're just eating people.
Well, see, and they're starting to realize, oh, we were using our prejudice because we wanted to take away your health care. Right. And we're like,
and then you realize you need it.
Oh snap! We both have the same health care.
Right, exactly. That happened right after Trump got elected, and they found out that the Affordable Health Care Act is Obamacare. When they did not realize those were the same thing. So the people who are like, get rid of that Obamacare. What do you mean you're getting rid of my care for my pre-existing condition?
It's like, well,
and so there's the slew of articles how we need to boo-hoo over people who didn't educate themselves about these things. Yeah. So I was like, so like Martin Luther King says, injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere, and people really need to get over themselves. And yes, I don't know anyone who's Syrian, but I do care for their plight, and I don't. Yeah. It's
and never okay to do if you watch the video, it's sad because before the boy even gets to him, you can see him do a small flinch, which means that kid is used to getting beat up. Mm-hmm. They probably bully that. They mess with that kid all the time. He already had a broken arm due to a previous injury from being bullied.
Getting picked on. And I'm like, where are all these other people who are like, who sit there and go, I would never. But you watched it. You watch it. You don't say laughed about it. It's your neighbor. It's your friend. Yep. And you just like, I'm going to be mom. And I'm like, they have to know that pressure is going to come. Yeah.
Because inaction is still an action.
It's still action. Yeah. And so they have to know that it's going to fall in.
I just felt so bad for that kid because I was like, he can't, because his parents are immigrants, which means we can't do anything because they'll be ready to deport us. Right. So you can't really fight back. I don't know how that
works. Can you not really?
Well, when it comes to immigrants, there's a large thing about not making waves.
Waves, that's true. Yeah. Because it could be that they could do something, but they don't know. They don't have the resources.
Yeah, they don't have the resources.
And you don't want to rock the boat. Yeah. And it's not like people never reward people standing up for themselves. No. And because they don't see it that way. No. They see you making a problem. Like black people. In the civil rights era, it wasn't us fighting for our rights. It was us just making a whole bunch of trouble. Yep. What do you mean you're upset about being hung for no reason just because you whistled at a white woman? Come on.
And then to find out years and years later, she lied.
Exactly. So
did she now? Of course, there's no time that she can really do now because she's
like on her way
90 or something like that.
She's like 90. But we're talking about Emmett Till, of course.
I'll say this, and this is not to jump. I don't want to go big, but if we can put someone else in jail in their old age, I believe that she should serve the rest of her life in jail. People can be as mad as you want, but yes, she do. Her lie got a man killed in one of the most vicious ways. She needs to serve the rest of her life in jail, and I don't feel sorry one.
I don't understand why she
I don't
can't
feel
even
sorry at all about saying
we can't go through at least a court something.
Yeah,
the system is very much broken.
Yeah. But so see, that would be justice.
Yeah,
that would be fair.
But on a lighter note, on a beef that isn't nearly as important, but my pettiness will not let it be.
Well, Toronto won't let it be.
Right. Well, this goes a little bit. I'm going a little beyond the Toronto thing. I feel like it's a system, a symptom of a larger problem that Pusha T brought on himself. I feel like beefs are often marketing ploys. Yeah. And I think the most famous example of that, where it was clear that they were joking around and having a good time with it, and I really enjoyed that beef, is 50 Cent and Kanye West.
Yeah, that was definitely.
It was like
it was just
a whole bunch of jokes. We ain't got nothing else to do. We both got albums coming out. Yeah, and we're gonna kind of use each other's clout. Give some momentum to that, and that was glorious and wonderful. Yeah. I'm not saying beef isn't like a dirty, dangerous thing. Like I think when this first popped up, I had a kumbaya coming to the realization that some of my faves from the 90s had ridiculously terrible beefs that were real. And
people got hurt.
Careers got iced. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. So I'm not saying. So I said I'm gonna pedal back a little bit on my this is not who we are. I definitely have my moment, and then came to realize that rap beefs can get pretty bad. Yeah. I think because we know how bad they can get, though, I thought lesson learned on that, and that's why most beefs after that period weren't that bad, with the exception of 50 Cent and Ja Rule, where 50 Cent still messes with Ja Rule to this day. Yeah. Which I'm like, I don't know. That dude breathe. I
really don't know what happened between them. Because I remember the beef, it seemingly came out of nowhere, but I'm sure there was stuff behind the scenes.
Right. But he's still messing with Ja Rule because he found poor Ja Rule's concert was on Groupon. And he bought the first couple of rows of his concerts just so nobody would be there. I was like, dude, what's the matter with you? Let it go. It's been so long. You're going bankrupt, and everybody's forgot about Ja Rule, and they kind of forgotten about you, and you still own this.
Let's be for real. I got love for 50 Cent, but if it wasn't for power, people wouldn't be thinking about you.
You're right.
Thank your lucky stars.
And I think that's why he went from season 1 where he wasn't in it to season 2 where he was in it. Yeah. And so we're he needs something. He needs something. He's not enough money. I guess he getting from being filing bankruptcy. I guess you ain't got enough loot. Just being an executive producer, you gotta get some of that acting money. Acting. And that has residuals to it. So, yep. So, line your accounts as you need. But my point was is that karma is a bitch. It's just, I feel weird saying that.
It's a proverb. It's another proverb from the start.
Super weird saying karma is a bitch because I have a relative named So I was like, but she's really nice though.
She's really nice. Karma is nice.
Karma is nice.
The universal karma.
To do this, I actually like making that particular relative now my vision of what karma is, and I think it's because she's so sweet. I think it's funny if that was her job, in American God style. Oh imagine she's the opposite of what you expect her to be. Oh yeah. Instead of thinking you're thinking karma's this vindictive bitch. She's really nice, and she's look.
That would be great. It would be great because people always talk about karma and that, say you were just chilling and you got a doorbell, you open the door. Hi, I'm Karma. Oh, okay. And they're like, no. Look, you were good. So here I got 50 things for you because you did this. Remember back in 2007 you did that.
Right, exactly. That'd be cool. That's my own little hang up about karma. We can move on. That'd be cool. But anyway, And I said, well, you did this probably as a marketing ploy. I was like, I don't know what.
Because his album was about to drop.
And his album was about to drop. It was like, and you know, and it was fun and friendly. You know, and then, you know, people thought, you know, Drake had that moment of thinking he had victory over, like he did with McMills, and then you came out with the story of Adidon or something like that.
And that joint.
Woo! And I said, you know what? I went back and I did my history, and I said, you know what? Within the rules of rap battle, this is legit. It's wrong. You're a dirty dog for it.
Well, see, the reason
it's allowed.
The reason a lot of hip hop beefs have always gone that way is because most hip hop beefs go on between people that at one time knew each other.
Right.
You know, so it's like even with like Tupac and Biggie, you know, when
they were friends at first.
Yeah, so that's why I was able to get dirty.
So, but you sounds like you never had any kind of relationship with Drake. Nah. And you pretty much digging dirt up.
But funny thing is, when I saw this, I essentially thought the beef was over.
Right, and that's another thing. And so did T.
But fans don't let stuff go.
Once you put something in the ethos, it's like the internet. Like once you put something in there, it's on there forever. And
fans don't let it go.
I think T is from a different era. Pusha T is from a different era, and I think he might not have been aware how hard this sticks. And maybe
because see like that, because like you don't see like people mad at like Common and Ice Cube anymore.
Right. We know about those beefs. We laugh about them. We use them in reference to things like this right here.
Yeah,
but beefs of the like this is and this. I mean, even the Kanye 50 thing happened at like the beginning of this.
Yeah.
Beefs tend to not last very long because if they last for too long or if they're too great, they do what they're doing right now. Yeah. They stick long after you're ready to move on, and that is what's happening.
Because I feel like both artists have kind of moved on now.
And Pusha has definitely wanted to move on and I feel like Drake moved on because he pretty much got smoked. He got bodied, and there was nowhere to go except further down. And I think Drake is much more aware of how this could stick.
Yeah.
So even as the winner of the proposed beef, he's drowning in Drake questions. Like I was like reading all this stuff, and it looks like if he shows up to an interview and Drake is so much as sneeze, they want a hot take from Pusha T about that.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, you hear Drake sneeze? What you think about that? Like, and that is driving him bananas. He doesn't want to talk about the beef anymore.
Because you know what?
Talk about Drake.
The funny thing is, if he was 50 Cent or someone like that, like Floyd Mayweather or whatever, they would be eating that up.
Right.
But he's not that type of person.
He's really not. Yeah. And he presented, but the beef.
Yeah, the beef.
This is probably maybe I got into my feelings when I first was like, how could you go so in? And I don't think, this is not you. And I think that's why you should have kept your beef to that level of what's you. If you want to step outside yourself to like win a beef and sell a record, well, here you are. And here's like the blowback from it is that people are obsessed. It's kind of like I remember hearing this from, what's her name, Shawana, who did Getting Some. She did that one song, Getting Some, with the Too Short sample. Right. And she said every rapper after that, everybody was calling her up to do dirty songs. She's like, I did one dirty song. And everybody's calling her about dirty songs. Like, she's just like, that's her. And I said, but it was the hottest song. So what I think Pusha T has been doing his administrative president thing for a while. He stepped back from rap for a long time. And so there's a whole bunch of people who do not know you from the clips. They do not know you from anywhere else. And you're coming in, this is your first introduction to a lot of these people. Yeah. And
because there's a lot of people in the hip hop space that don't know hip hop history.
Right.
But I'm gonna leave that alone.
Right.
You already know who I'm talking to, but we'll leave that alone.
Exactly. And so this is my first introduction. Like, oh, you're petty push.
Petty push.
You push that petty. You don't push drugs, you push petty. All right, let's do this. Yeah. So what's the next T? What shade you got? That's what people want from you now, because that's what you've established yourself as, because this is their first introduction to you. And I don't think he gave enough thought to what it could be. So
kind
now
of being attacked.
Exactly. And so things are just not
now,
going
if I was him, I would have never performed in Canada. Period.
Because I would have felt. I think Canada would have been fine to go to. Drake's.
Oh, like Vancouver would have been cool.
Vancouver, maybe anywhere else in French Canada, because that's actually technically in French Canada.
But not Toronto.
But not Toronto.
Yeah.
And then go and you like look. And I was like, you're an instigator. I get that. So the Petty Push is actually a fitting title for you. Petty Push, because you know that is the city. You didn't have to go like extra in because it says, he did like, do his diss record. He had a few comments because Infrared is the diss record. So after you do this song, what are you expecting people? That's his city. And he's so involved. Like there's a how much is it? $500 million industry around Drake in Toronto.
Wow.
So I don't think you were aware of what
how really big he was in Toronto.
He's in that city. Like I think you still have Canadians, and maybe their reputation, of being nice people is what saved you. But I was like, if it was like if
somebody screamed out, they're filming this. They were like, oh.
And stuff like that, and Petty Push takes off, and I'm not against him. Like, last thing you want to do is get into it with a fan, even if you don't think you're even if you're about that.
Yeah, you don't want that.
You don't want that
because you're in a room of like, let's say, I'm just looking at 500, 1,000 angry people.
You say you connect with somebody, they're gonna sue the pants off of you, even though they were completely wrong. They're gonna sue the pants off of you.
Yeah.
So no, it's not worth it.
And it's an international incident.
Exactly. You want to be able to go back to Canada for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So and Canada's about that. You can on a no-flight list. That's tough. There's a lot of rappers that can't go north of the border. You don't have to give Justin Trudeau a call.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
And so I'm like, no, I ain't mad at him for getting out the way because that just makes sense. He's about his paper, about his life. It's bigger than that. And all he did was throwing drinks and talking shit anyway. Yeah. So, but that's my thing. And so this happened. He went on another interview where it came up, and then something happened at Daytona, the Daytona event that I can't quite remember. And it's all tied up to this like beef that will not die. And now Petty Push is like, why won't it die? What have I done? And nobody's asking Drake about Pusha. Nobody's asking.
Is Drake even doing interviews right now?
I don't think
Drake seems to me like someone who lays low until it's like 2 months before his album drops.
Right.
And then that's it.
Right.
And then he lays low again.
But he has the ability to do that. Push can do that. I think Push, as far as an artist, he doesn't have the clout he once had. And while everybody in the game respects him,
lyrically he's respected, but he doesn't have. It's kind of like a movie might get an Oscar, but it didn't make all the money.
You're right. It doesn't get the attention that you want stuff to get. So he has to make the rounds if he's gonna. I feel like that's where he's at. Like, you're a legend. You're definitely iconic. Everybody gives you your dues and stuff, and dap and respect for the most part. But I don't know. I feel like both men. I remember when I read this. I remember thinking to myself that both men were pushing above their weight in one way or another. You were punching above your weight with a greater star with greater clout, who buried you when he released his album.
Yeah.
And it's just so popular that no matter what you said or did, they're going to be like...
They're always going to be the winner.
You're the winner, and it's like a bounce back where people are going to make a ton of excuses for him. Yeah. And if you really push to make people make a choice, they wasn't going to pick you. They were like legend or not, they weren't going to pick you because they're trying to get checks.
Yeah.
And stuff. And then Drake was hitting a legend who's about that, one
who has the lyric
capability to bury you. Because I think Drake, for what he often goes against, is the better lyric. No, people are like, he's not lyrical, but he's better than a lot of people he's going against.
He's better than just about anyone
that's hot right now.
Yeah, just about anyone
who's really hot, because your mumble rappers can't compete.
Yeah,
a lot of your trap is catchy.
The only person who, and this probably would never happen, but maybe Kendrick or Anderson .Paak, maybe
Why?
someone. Yeah, but that would never happen.
Why? That's like
I'm trying to think of somebody who I would see
that.
as a contemporary.
And it's just like the stuff that Drake talks about and the stuff those two talk about are two different worlds.
I can't see
even
one
when
that's
they
in
were
his.
putting Childish Gambino and Drake kind of against each other, that never happened. And they are like almost mirrors of one each other.
They could be that could be an interesting battle.
For what they
but
talk
I'd probably say Childish Gambino probably got more lyrics.
Yes, lyrically.
Probably got more lyrics.
Being more lyrical.
Yeah, or be more lyrical. Yeah.
Definitely would be more lyrical.
Yeah.
I mean, they both make catchy shit. Yeah. And again, that
I think Childish got them bars.
Exactly. And the mix match would be just clout. Now, right about now, it's not even like that anymore. Donald Glover / Childish Gambino has quite a bit of clout. My thing
that would be a fair match.
It would be a pretty fair match. But again, with where Childish Gambino's gone, especially with This Is America and stuff like that, I almost would put him with the Anderson .Paak people, where it's like, why would I do that? So it's like, it's still like most of the people who are willing to be petty with Drake and go back and forth with Drake. Because Drake is enamored by rap battle culture. Yeah. He said that a few times. So that's why he's like willing to do this stuff and get into it and stuff like that. But most people picking a fat with their easy wins. You know, he's like a bigger star. I got a little lyrical for you. And then you pick on somebody who's like monstrous. Meek Mills. That was an easy win.
That was an easy win.
You can out-resource that dude. Like it's so easy to win against a Meek Mills. So while it was funny, I don't think it ever got to this level. Yeah. And then like OVO Fest, you got OVO Fest that happened right after that, where you could just shit on him some more. And then Meek Mills was in such a weak position because his girlfriend at the time was the bigger star. It was such an easy test.
And then the whole
so you're not messing with somebody.
World tour?
Is that your girls tour? That was such a good line.
Oh boy,
that was so messed up.
That was a good one, guys. That was a good one.
Yeah, and so there's nothing but like, again, both men were pushing. And I feel like while you're holding the win you won the battle, I don't think you're winning the war. Nah. You're losing the war. You're holding the L for this war. From now on, you're going to be the dude who bodied Drake. That's going to be you.
Yeah, but
either
then you
push guy who bodied Drake. Let's talk about that. And so it's almost like every interview they want his name.
The only way Pusha's going to be able to break out of this is by coming out with an album that is kind of objectively great and has nothing to do with Drake at all. Like, that's the only way he'll be able to break out of this.
I don't feel like he's going to revisit the Drake thing.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, the only way he can break out of this
but he got to come with a stellar album.
The album
he has to come up with
like,
a marketing ploy that does not use other people's clout. Because then that whole petty push thing is going to continue. And I think it'll become a trend. For every time you say, well, I'm going to come out with another album, I'm going to start another beef. Well, Petty Push is back. Yeah. And that's all we're going to want to talk about. Petty Push is back. That's going to be my name for him, Petty Push. Because boy. Mad petty with that.
But, guys, that's it. That's our show. We missed y'all. We have been on this stream 2 hours, all right? We did for you. And thank you for hanging out with us and all this stuff. Let's see who's still in the chat. Alan Lewis, shout out to you. Chris Smith, shout out to you. Down Rock Records, shout out. If Nolan's chocolate as well, shout by Nolan. Thanks for rolling through. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's it. Everybody who rolled through. Shout out to Keith Cooper. Shout out to Thought Crimes. All you guys are super duper great. To my left, I'm joined by
Marqueeda LaStar. You can find me everywhere on the internet at LaStar.net.
That's right. And I am NERDSoul, NERDSoul. Make sure to subscribe. Share this out to your friends. Tell your friends to share it. Tell your friends to subscribe. Hit that thumbs up. Now, you can hit that thumbs down. But if you hit that thumbs down, I'm going to send all them people from Toronto after you. All right? All of them. And they all going to have full drinks. Full drinks. Full cups.
Not full drinks.
Full drinks to the brim. So from us to you. Thanks for watching.
Peace. Patreon.